longing for your dirty souls. The wolves are hauling. Can you hear the voices calling? Do you feel how they are dragging, waiting for a second to push you to your limits, going strong and feeling better? Or do you feel them? Can you hear them say,
Coming across the line? Seems a little dark in here. Trust me, you have nothing to fight. Take the start. Follow, leave it all behind. Welcome to the other side.
do you feel them? Can you hear them say, do you feel how they are dragging? Can you hear them say,
Coming across the line? Seems a little dark in here. Trust me, you have nothing to fight. Take the start. Follow, leave it all behind. Welcome to the other side. Across the line. Seems a little dark in here. Trust me, you have nothing to fight. Take the start. Follow, leave it all behind. Welcome to the other side. Coming across the line.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series Countdown to Green, refreshed by Coca-Cola. We're live from virtual Richmond Raceway in Richmond, Virginia for the round 6 of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. I'm Amy Long. Hello to all of you joining us and spending your Tuesday nights with us, watching on iRacing's platforms and on eNASCAR.com. I'm joined by our panel of expert drivers, Brandon Cattell, Chris Overland. How are you two doing tonight?
I'm fired up.
Pretty
Let's
good. We're short track racing tonight.
Yeah, we are. Absolutely. Well, before we talk about tonight's race, let's have a look back at what happened out west during the round of 5 at the virtual Auto Club Speedway.
The pace car will dive to the safety of pit road, and Keegan Leahy in control of the field as we say, let's go racing in Fontana. And how about this? An early call, your race leader to pit road just 20 laps in. The number is still your top 14, so if they are all at this point, it would seem, trying to push it to halfway and make it a one-stopper. Honestly, I'm pretty impressed. This time by 22 laps to go for the one-stoppers. Leahy, he is 6 seconds off of this three-way battle here between Bryant, Justice, and Gann. And as he comes off the final corner, he'll be the 55th different driver to ever do it. Bob Bryant is a Coke Series winner. He gets the job done in Fontana.
What a win. The race stayed clean and green in Fontana. Drivers calling on strategy to put them out front of the pack for the rest of them. Let's go to our panel of experts. They're more than just pretty faces around here. Brandon Cattell, Chris Overland. Chris, your thoughts on the round of 5 out at the virtual Auto Club Speedway?
I think you give me a lot more credit than I deserve over here. Sometimes I do feel like
I don't.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll just move on from that then. My thoughts from Auto Club were, it was pretty obvious that all 3 phases had to be in order for you to win this race. First things first, you have to have a good car to win the race. I mean, Bob Bryant had a fantastic car. His guys were running up front. The Kligerman Sport guys seem to have Auto Club figured out. I believe they've won the last 2 races here. So that's one. You have to have a good driver. Bob Bryant's been around since me and Cattell were in diapers, I believe. So that's 2. And then strategy. He played the one-stop strategy correctly. Keegan Leahy had the other 2, but he didn't have the right strategy. He did the 2-stop, and he ended up getting caught in traffic. Ray Alfala is a good driver, but he didn't have a good car or a good strategy, so he ended up in the back as usual. So gotta give credit to my boy Ray.
Be so tough on Ray?
Hey man, until he gets a win this year, we gotta stay on him here. But all 3 phases mattered. All 3 phases are going to matter for the rest of the year, but at Auto Club, it was definitely prominent. And I think you'll continue to see that be a trend throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, without a doubt.
The trifecta for sure. Brandon, your thoughts?
I think my biggest takeaway here, if we look at last week's race or 2 weeks ago, if you look at it, I guess the whole season here, 3 out of the 5 races have gone caution-free this season. And if you're willing to play strategy, that can play right into your lap for winning one of these races. And that's what Bob Bryant did last 2 weeks ago here at Auto Club. When you get an opportunity to be able to play a strategy so good like that, it's so fulfilling. And I can't tell you if it's a fuel mileage win, if it's not having the fastest car or having the fastest car, a win is a win. And just to see Bob that happy after that race, just awesome, you know? So strategy is starting to lock in some of these playoff positions here, as you see. Bob Bryant here, he may not be in the top, I guess he is in the top 20 in the points. He's not secured right now.
P15 right now, yeah.
Yeah, P15 in points. But no matter what, he's locked in as we stand. So strategy is giving people a shot at this championship right now. So we'll look for more of it to come in the season.
I definitely like what you said there, Brandon. I mean, like you said, you got to roll the dice, and it could also bite you. We saw it happen to Malik Ray trying to make it on fuel mileage at Las Vegas. So I agree with that sentiment a lot, and I mean, it really falls into what I said about all three phases. Strategy, definitely one of them.
Yeah,
Strategy's
those bold moves could definitely take you straight to victory lane. But we took time to chat with the man in victory lane, driver of the number 77 Kligerman Sport Chevrolet, Bob Bryant, about his first career win in the series. But he's actually been behind the wheel for much, much longer than that. So probably where he picked up some of those tips and tricks. Here we are talking to him about this win and what it means at this point in his career.
It's incredible. It's incredibly difficult in this series to win. You know, I alluded to that in my post race, but these guys are the best of the best for sure. And it, you know, to beat them on speed or strategy or whatever, just to beat these guys is incredibly difficult. It's honestly one of the most challenging things that I've done, sim racing or otherwise. It's hard, and it's a competition, and it's so yeah, you know, just to have that kind of personal achievement of knowing that we're able to compete here, that we're able to win here. I think you saw that just kind of flow out, and I was pumped, man. I was really pumped. I still am pumped. For me, I kind of stepped away from high-level competitive sim racing around 2007-ish, 2008. And, you know, I've been an iRacing member since day one, but more or less just kind of kicking around on the fixed series races and that sort of thing, just to have fun. Treat, you know, it's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to have a good time with it, and that's what I did for 10 plus years. And 2018 rolled around, a lot of the momentum really started building behind the Coke series as it is today. A lot of, you know, familiar names to me started coming back. You know, Steve Sheehan was my teammate last year. John Gorlinski, who I work with quite a bit, he made a run back in. So it was just like, well, you know, my buddies are making a run back in, I'll give it a shot too. And I showed up to a Road to Pro race, just kind of on a lark, ran a VRS setup, and I think I won the third split. So I was like, okay, well, I can still do this, and ran the rest of the Road to Pro season, finished, I think, 5th or something like that, ran the Pro Series, finished 5th or something like that, and here we are in Coke. So that's kind of been it for me. Parker is an amazing ambassador for sim racing, and he truly loves this stuff. He's kind of like me. He's been a lifer at this stuff. He's been doing this for 15 years plus, for sure, and he loves it, and he tries to involve sim racing in, you know, basically everything he does. And so, you know, for me, that was just as a culture fit, it was really nice to be aligned with somebody that truly cares about this sport, that wants to put his best foot forward, that wants to feel the you know, a really competitive team that pays attention to this stuff, that puts effort behind promoting his drivers and his brands and all that sort of stuff. So you know, it's been really great to be with Kligerman Sport. I have an awesome teammate this year with Isaac Gann. I had an awesome teammate last year with Logan Clampett. You know, both really talented drivers and you know, at the front quite a bit. So yeah, I love where I'm at. Love Kligerman Sport. I think, you know, Parker is a big benefit to the series. I'm glad that he's here, and yeah, very happy.
I loved that. I loved that fist bump. That was great. That was a great reaction.
I'm that gnome in the background. Hey,
oh my goodness.
I love that for Bob. You know, Bob's been around for many years, and he's one of the most liked, most well-respected people on the service. He's a great driver, and personally, I had heard stories of him when I first started sim racing that he was one of the best. So when it comes to Bob Bryant, when he got in the series last year, I was like, man, we're really racing with one of the legends. So yeah, really cool that Bob finally got a win.
Glad to see old man Bob return back and
yes, sir,
race with us.
Yeah, that's really great. And I loved all of the history that he had. And he gave thanks to a lot of people. So it's really cool to see somebody so gracious.
Yeah, we love Parker.
Taking it. Yeah. So yeah, way to be. Well, we do this show for the fans, and several of you answered the call to action whenever we asked you to be a part of Countdown to Green by tweeting us a picture of your sim rigs using the hashtag eNASCAR. So let's go ahead and have a look at some of our entries that we've got in here. Let's see. The first one is from Jolly Rogers 1.
My boy Joe, he's got the yellow trim on
Look
his.
at all that
on his-
yellow, Chris.
Yes.
That's
Oh man, I
made
love
for
it.
you, man.
Yeah, and the rig looks very sturdy. It looks like I could go and wheel it without it falling apart. So
Yeah, those pedals are not moving at all. I can tell you that.
yeah, he's probably got some old school NASCAR games over there on the right as well. So good on you, Joe.
Yeah, that looks great. All right, so the next one. Who am I? You two.
Oh, this one.
I got
This one. Yeah, you look great. The rest of the rig might need some work.
You think so?
Wow, Chris.
I like the lights at the bottom.
I like the lights, but I mean the pedals down there don't look secure.
Yeah,
I would
will
fall right
say
out of
those
that
pedals
chair.
might move a little bit.
But yeah, no, you being on the screen, that's always a plus.
Yeah, I'm sensing a little bit of jealousy over there.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think as far as those sim rigs are concerned, you find the best drivers on those. You know, I used to drive on a CRT monitor, not to turn around home. This next one, man, I'm excited about this next one though. Our boy Justin Malillo. Me and Cattell have known this guy for 10 years. He's an eNASCAR reporter, and look, he's even got a cameo of you there on the right on his second computer monitor, his laptop monitor. So good on Justin. We love Justin in this house. He does a lot of work for the series behind the scenes, and he's also a wheel man.
I will have to say, knowing Justin for as long as we have, Chris, I remember the days when he would race in the hotels. So this is a big step up.
Yeah,
for him.
Definitely.
All right.
Justin's a great dude, and you know he deserves the nice things that he's showing us right here.
All right, next we've got Hookah Vern. Hookah.
Go Vern Spring. Hey, he's got the triple monitor set up. It looks like he's doing some laps at that might be Daytona, Cattell. You might be able to tell me better.
I think it is Daytona.
He's doing it from the Batcave, I see.
Yeah, he's been sim racing 127 hours. That's what that is. Those rock
Look
formations
at
in the
the
background.
NASCAR rim he's got there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's Coca-Cola trim.
Well,
Black and
yeah, a
red.
little bit of product placement everywhere.
Yeah, I'm really loving the monitors for sure. One of our Coke Series friends, SHR Esports,
Yeah.
right here. Yeah, that's a great looking one. I think
We don't
they've got
know
a
who
great
this
setup.
actually is, though. We need to figure out who their social guy is, who's actually behind this, because we don't know. It's just the brand. The brand
I'd love
of
to
Stewart
have
Haas
it.
Racing.
I know that.
Yeah.
I want it.
Well,
Doesn't look
me and
too
Cattell,
shabby.
me and
Yeah,
Cattell
go
are
ahead
looking in there.
and tweet back at us. We still want to include you again. I'm really loving the where are we at? The beach? Got the mountains on the side monitor.
Look at all the coverage here, though. We have
Yeah.
a laptop on the left. I
Yeah.
mean, we got a monitor on the right and a triple screen.
I mean,
Escape
It's everywhere.
technology.
whoever this is a very productive human. I'm gonna throw that out there. Or not at all, actually. Could go either way. Looks really great. All right, keep sharing your photos with us. We want to see what you're wheeling, so feel free to go ahead and send those over using the hashtag eNASCAR, and be sure to do that on the Twitter handles as well. So yeah, let's see them. We want to see more. And Chris, I didn't see yours up there.
Hey, man, I don't. We got Michael on the screen. I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah, I think that you felt a little bit left out though earlier whenever we were running through this, so your photo wasn't up there. So
Yeah,
So
you
if
got to
you-
get me on your screen, man.
get that shot. All right, well, Richmond Raceway is a 3/4 miles D-shaped asphalt racetrack located in Virginia. That is the state for lovers, and we love our friend Michael Guerrilla. So we weren't going to give him the day off today. He's been busy looking up trends at Richmond Raceway. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Amy, and you're all right. There's definitely some juicy trends here at Richmond Raceway, and just to go through some of them, I mean, there's this interesting one about a certain few drivers in the series when it comes down to it. Ryan Luza, one of our top competitors here in the eNASCAR Coke Series season, who already has a win on the year, has finished in the top 5 in each of his 4 starts here at Richmond Raceway, and he's making that a bid for 5 for 5 starting tonight here. And then also, this is the home track for our Richmond Raceway esports team, and their drivers, Zach Novak and Jimmy Mullis. I don't know if they really like this track because they've had a really rough time here as of late. They've contended here in races, but amongst 8 combined starts amongst the 2 drivers, they've had a total of 1 top 10 finish and an average finish of 23rd. So that's a lot of struggles for them. So now you're also looking at the cautions that we've had over the past few years, and there's a recent trend of double-digit cautions over the past 3 years with 16, 10, 15. So there's Been a lot of restarts, been a lot of carnage. We'll have to see if that trend continues tonight, or we revert back to our mid-2010s with multiple cautions being lesser, with 2, 6, and 9 back in the 2015 to 2017 range. And the final one we have here tonight is we have a repeat winner trend that we have going on here. As you see on your screen, there are 4 different drivers that they've run back-to-back races whenever they've won here. And Ottinger from 2013 to 14, Humpy from 15 to 16, Afala 17, 18, and Luza 19 and 20. Now, one common thing about these guys, these are all champions. So sometimes when you're in here at Richmond Raceway, you can become a champion. So maybe this year's champion will come from Richmond Raceway and whoever wins tonight. So it'll be interesting to see tonight, but there's a lot of trends, and we'll have to see if some of these trends continue tonight here at Richmond Raceway.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. Great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you guys as well.
I gotta
All
say,
right.
man, if this race goes caution-free tonight, it looks really bad for the 3 of us, me, Brandon, and Michael, because, man, there's been a lot of cautions here with us in the field.
And then knock on yourself. No, I really enjoy seeing all of those trends, and who knows, we might walk away with another new winner who could also be crowned the champion, as he's saying. Could be exciting. But everyone remembers their first Coca-Cola and their first win. Remember, we had our first-time winner of the 2021 season 2 weeks ago at Auto Club Speedway. And Brandon, want to know if you think that we'll have another first-time
Chris,
winner
do you
coming
remember
up.
your first time win?
Oh my god, I knew you were gonna go there. Can we just let's just go one countdown to green show without you bringing it up, man.
I'm sorry, man. With Bob Bryant winning last week or 2 weeks ago, I'm going to say that multiple times tonight. With Bob Bryant winning 2 weeks ago, it was obviously our first time winner of the year, and that begs the question: who's going to be our next first time winner? I think I look at people like Blake Reynolds, who has 73 starts in the series. Almost got him a win a couple years ago at Brickyard, Indianapolis. So I think about him. I think about Derek Justice, some of the new guys, Mitchell DeJong. It really, you start to ask the question, who's going to be your next first-time winner, Chris?
Well, you know, I was told by the producers I shouldn't single this one individual out, but I'm going to do it anyway. 166 starts, the 47 of Brian Schoenberg. Brad Doherty, JTG Doherty, get this man into victory lane, please. It's been so long. Brian Schoenberg needs to be our next first-time winner. He's got the experience. He knows how to get it done. He's gotten multiple second place finishes, such as yours truly. But I believe in Brian. I don't know how many other people do, but I definitely believe in Brian. He's got the car to do it, and I think he's going to get his first wins.
Definitely do. All right, let's check out the playoff bracket for the season. So far, we've got 5 races in, and half the bracket is actually already filled. The room is getting full, guys. There's 9 races to go, 5 more spots left. What do you think looking at this bracket?
Well, I mean, I hate to be right again, but I definitely think we're going to have multiple first-time winners, and not everybody who gets a win is going to be in the playoffs. So, I mean, we've got Keegan, Clampett, Conti, Luza, and Bob Bryant. Bob seems to be the one that's standing out of those 4.
He's the asterisk. You know, I love Bob to death, but, you know, I didn't think he was going to be winning this early in the season. So that's really good to see that he's winning, but you know, it kind of mixes everything up here early, you know, Chris.
For sure, yeah, no, and then, I mean, like you mentioned, we still have road courses left in the season.
Yep.
You know, Bobby Zielinski's going to have to get a win, or somebody's going to have to steal one from him. Mitchell, perhaps. We haven't seen 4-time champion Ray Alfala get back to victory lane this year. So I'd say, you know, maybe week 9, week 10, we'll probably have 8 different first-time winners. Hopefully we'll have 9. But, you know, it's really going to come down to who's got multiple wins being able to get in here. So,
yeah, really exciting.
Getting crowded for sure.
Not only getting crowded, but we'll see which of the guys actually kept their points up all season. Let's say we do all have all new winners, new men in victory lane, new drivers in victory lane. Will be really interesting throughout the rest of the season. We'll keep checking in on that. So there's a lot of history at Richmond Raceway, both in person and virtually. It's the first short track for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series that we've been to this season. So we're going to turn to Brandon Cattell for some track analysis.
I do love some short track racing. Thanks, Amy.
Yeah.
So Richmond Raceway is a 3/4 mile short track in Richmond, Virginia. If you believe it or not, Chris Overland, the start-finish line is right off of turn 4, unlike most of these ovals where it's right in the center of the tri-oval.
I had absolutely no idea about this prior. I really didn't. I have not noticed. I've raced here so many times.
Yeah. So Richmond Raceway is one of those tracks where it's definitely, you think it's a short track, everybody's going to be fighting for the bottom. But it kind of races like the track we went to last week at Auto Club Speedway. We're going to see some multi-groove racing. We're going to see people go high into the corner, going to diamond down. They're going to be coming up off a 2 where you have to watch out. You could be pinched up into the wall. That has happened to me many times before here, and it is not. Thanks, Chris. That is not fun wrecking down the backstretch here. And coming out of turn 4, drive off is so key tonight, guys. Off of turn 4, you see it in the races on Sundays in real life. People are always drifting up off of turn 4, and that is one of the hardest parts about this racetrack. Coming off of corner number 4, if you do not have drive off, you are just out of luck, my friend.
Yeah, this aerial shot really shows you how far the start-finish line is. So I'm with Chris on this one. I didn't notice how drastic that was.
Yeah, and then as far as you know the racing you're going to see tonight, you're going to have to definitely go to your short track routes. Are we going to see something like 2 of our very kind iRacing members who are also in the NASCAR level, Kyle Busch and Dale Jr.? We're going to see a Kyle Busch Dale Jr. finish tonight, Brandon?
Oh, he turned him, man. He turned him. I hope so.
There is lots to look forward to tonight. But before we get to the action on the track, guys, it's time to find out which drivers our panel, you guys, will think will get it done at the Richmond Raceway. So
this is always my favorite part.
Do you think we will have another new winner in Victory Lane? Man coming back fiercely in the points. Brandon, what do you think? Who you got?
Tonight, I wish, but not tonight. Ryan Luza, the man won back-to-back here. He's just really good. He has a win right now. I need to make some points on these idiots. So hopefully that can happen tonight.
Well, I guess it's up to me. You know, we had segment, we had Mike's trends of the race. Richmond Raceway Esports guys, they only have 1 top 10. They only do this. They only finish 23rd on average. Jimmy Mull wins tonight. I'll give you some trends.
Oh, wow.
He's got some flat track wins at Pocono. He's got flat track wins at New Hampshire. And this track drives like a flat track. And Jimmy Mull has got what it takes to get it done tonight. He's also got that blue and yellow lanes. It's going to add like 15 horsepower. So, hey, I believe in you. Despite what the trends say, we're going to get it done tonight, man.
I love it. And Michael, what do you think?
Yeah, I tell you what, Chris, that is a pretty sharp paint scheme for Moles this week. They had both of those cars have some pretty good paint schemes this week. But,
I love my blue and yellow.
Oh yeah, definitely. But my pick is one that I haven't picked all season so far, and he's been really consistent up at the point standings. He's shown a lot of speed here, especially at Richmond, and that's going to be the Letarte Esports driver, Bobby Zielinski, in the 83 machine. I know Chris was mentioning earlier, I'm picking drivers he picked the previous weeks, but
hey, man,
Bob's had some solid results here, man, and if he's got some results and he's shown pace here, I gotta pick him. I gotta maintain my points lead and get a race up on you, Chris, and 2 races up on you, Brandon.
Hey, Michael, you seem fired up, man.
We've had him on the lab all week. He's ready to get out and stretch his legs.
Hey, I see a light in your background. Is that our friend Santi back there?
No.
Santa's been sent.
Yeah.
But, talking about Brandon's pick, Ryan Luza, you can go for the low-hanging fruit if you want, Brandon. You get your handicaps, pick the guys that run well, but I think that's a solid pick. Ryan Luza is hard to bet against. I had a shot against him last year, and I blew it. So.
Yeah, you did.
Still going with the home team. I know you didn't ask, but you asked me last week, so I'm ready this week, just so you know. Stick with my home team, guys. Jimmy Mullis and Zach Novak. They're going to do really well out at Richmond Raceway. So, yeah, thanks so much for your thoughts, guys. 5 people locked into the playoffs. Let's see if we have our 6th new winner or if we have our first repeat winner. So that'll be an exciting race to watch. Before we leave, let's check in with Evan Pasoko and Tim Terry in the booth. They'll be calling all the action tonight from the virtual Richmond Raceway. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're good, Amy. Thanks for getting us ready to go, and it's going to be interesting. I have a feeling, based on those trends that Michael was showing us, tonight could be a little bit different than last time out, right? We're going from a racetrack where, Tim, we went caution-free last time out to a place where the last couple of years it's been double digits. Anything could happen, but I feel like short track racing is going to be elbows up tonight.
Yeah, but I also like the trends of where we have been this season. We've seen some really clean racing so far this year, Evan, and I think it might translate over. Either way, we saw strategy play out in Bob Bryan's win last week. I have a feeling we might see some more strategy here tonight to produce, as Amy mentioned, what could be a 6 different winner or what might be a repeat winner for the first time in 2021.
Yeah, and how about these how about these first-time winners? Our bracket, as we talked to earlier on Countdown to Green, is getting a little full over there. What do you guys think?
Well, it's a good thing we bumped it up from 8 to 10, right? I mean, last year and for the previous couple of years, our number has been 8 drivers in the postseason. So I think good timing to bump it up to 10, Tim. But, this isn't the first time we've gone this deep into a season with multiple different race winners to this number. It's happened about 3 other times, but it's the first time in the playoff era. So at some point, the race winners have to be getting nervous, right? I mean, we saw the NASCAR Cup Series, individual winner streak break this weekend. I have a feeling maybe ours continues tonight through round 6.
Amy, the boat's getting full. We said it a couple of weeks ago when we talked to Nick Ottinger. There's a name that hasn't won yet this year. We got some road courses coming up. You think of Bobby Zielinski, Mitchell DeYoung. Those drivers excel at road courses. I think we're going to see more than 10 winners because we've got enough races to get there. Then the question is, who is the best of those 10 to get into the playoff round? I think somebody can punch their ticket here tonight that might not have won yet this season, but I guess 200 laps will tell us a tale.
Yeah, it'll definitely tell us a tale. And as Bob Bryant said in his post-race interview last week, they don't just give these things away. The competition's still there. So I think even if it is a repeat winner, they're still going to be pretty dang excited about it.
Yeah, you're never guaranteed to get back there, right? That's when we see some of these vets go a couple of years without a win. They're so excited because it means so much to them. It is no easy task to beat 39 of the other best sim racers in the world.
Right, and our first track visit of this season. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I think the short track at Richmond is going to provide us some great racing. Vicente Salas is on the pole position. First time he's led the field to green. So there's another driver that might have a little bit of pressure on him. Maybe one of the rookies will come out tonight and win their first race.
And do you suspect we'll have a lot more cautions?
Yeah, we might. I think Evan said, too, there was double-digit caution counts. Michael mentioned it as well. But this race tends to bring out some cautions, some close racing. But we've also seen some races on this racetrack where we've had single-digit cautions and green flag pit stops. So flip a coin, it could go either way.
Those green flag pit stops are the best, wouldn't you say? That's where I find the most excitement.
Well, Tim mentioned it there, right? All the strategy that came into Bob Bryant's win last week when we were able to go caution-free and those strategies could play out. Even in a race with yellows, though, if we get some tonight, I think the timing of those yellows could make some drivers adjust on strategy and maybe put some different drivers in a unique position to try to get a win. At the end of the day, it's a short track. The bumper solves everything.
All right, well, you guys have got a great race for the view for the race this evening. Looking forward to it. Thanks so much for checking in with us on Countdown to Green. For Brandon Cattell, Chris Overland, Michael Gorilla, thanks so much for joining us. My name's Amy Long. This has been Countdown to Green, refreshed by Coca-Cola. Fans, get ready. Up next, it's round 6 of the 2021 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing season, and it's just around the corner.
This Coca-Cola Zero Sugar tastes mighty delicious.
Come on, buddy.
But
if you keep lying like this, you'll be a puppet forever.
It's the honest truth.
You're right. It's delicious.
I never lie.
I am here and now. Where stories you pass down are born. I am where drivers become legends. And legends become the new kings. I'm where nothing's impossible. Even a champion rising again in Phoenix. I'm moving forward. And if you really try, you can catch me. I am NASCAR.
It doesn't matter where you're from, who you grew up rooting for, what you grew up watching, your home track, your favorite car, the series you've always wanted to race in. When you're ready to know what it's like, we're here, bringing you as close to the action as it gets with the ultimate sim racing experience. With a community of hundreds of thousands just like you. This is iRacing, and here, every day is race day.
This is our series, where the stakes are always higher, where virtual meets reality. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Yeah, look at my shine with the blow. This is my time with it though. This is my time to be way at the top. Me and my guys gon' pay out the block. I don't look like boss. Time's right, and I know they see us walking in the limelight. Promise you won't wanna watch like a sci-fi. My guys are high rises, high time. My crown if you come to my side. I pledge allegiance for lifetime. My squad connected like Wi-Fi. We grind and you see the highlights. This my life. It ain't a game now. Me and you, we ain't the same now. Lions coming out to play now. Opposition out the way now. Out of the way. You wasn't invited. Say you come to play. I dare you to try it. You don't wanna try me. Don't step up to my team. Yeah. Out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way.
The road to $300,000 speeds through the Commonwealth of Lovers, where tonight from the virtual Richmond Raceway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to round 6 of the 2021 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. And happy that you're with us, as always, on a Tuesday evening here on iRacing Live and streaming live at eNASCAR.com alongside Tim Terry. My name is Evan Pasoko. Tim, for the first time this year, we're going short track racing.
I'm a short track guy, Evan. Absolutely love coming to Richmond. Always provides some great racing. Some short track racing usually provides a little bit of action, maybe some bent tempers by the end of this one. Can't wait to see, because the first 5 races of this season have been phenomenal. Can't wait to see what they can do on a short track.
I feel like we're going to learn a lot tonight, right? Really, the first big question mark, aside from our first road race in a couple of weeks, first question mark is who's got the best performance on the short tracks this year. And it's been a season to start off, as you heard on Countdown to Green, with such polarity, right? Through 5 rounds, 5 different race winners. It's only the 3rd time in series history we've hit that number. Can that continue as those playoff spots fill up fast?
I think it can, because there are plenty of good names, big names in this series that haven't won a race yet. Do they win tonight? You can't wait in this series. You can't wait around to win a race. You got to jump when you can. If somebody has an opportunity, they're going to do so tonight.
Going to be elbows up, bumper-to-bumper action on the short track tonight. Let's get things underway by going trackside and handing things off to tonight's Grand Marshal for the most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines.
With his first career pole position, it is Vicente Salas bringing us to the green flag this evening alongside Garrett Maines in second spot. Bobby Zelensky, Taylor Hurst going to make up row number 2 with Ryan Luza, a multi-time Richmond winner, including the winner of the last 2 years here in 5th. Tim Clampett, DeYoung, more big names, sit 6th and 7th spot, along with defending series champion Nick Ottinger, Matt Boosa, Chris Shearburn. That's your top 10.
You get Isaac Gann and Keegan Leahy on your next row. Zach Novak, Jimmy Mullis turned in almost identical times in qualifying. The Richmond Raceway boys will roll off on the next row. You got Corey Vincent, Bob Bryant. 2 weeks ago, he was in victory lane. Stephen Wilson, Blade Witt, Malik Ray, and a short track guy from New Hampshire, Jake Matheson.
In second half of the field, led by Garrett Lowe in the number 21 spot. Jake Nichols alongside 22nd. Brad Davies will double up with Ashton Crowder. Behind them, going to be Nathan Lyon and Alan Bowes through 26th spot. Blake Reynolds starts 27th, along with Ray Alfala in 28th. Derek Justice and Michael Conti through P30.
And these boys have some work to do back here. It's Kane Cook, Graham Boland, your next row. Brian Schoenberg, Casey Kerwin, Dylan Duval, John Gorlinski coming off a top 5 run the last time we ran. Zach Nichols, Femi Olak, Ryan Doucette, and Michael Guest is going to start scratch on the field tonight.
Taking a look top to bottom at your starting grid tonight, refreshed by Coca-Cola as we get set to go racing for the 6th round of this 2021 campaign. All 40 drivers ready to go. Of course, 2 weeks ago we saw Bob Bryant get his first career win at this level of the series. Tim mentioned it as we took a look through our starting grid. Salas in pole position tonight, the 40th different driver to get a career pole position in this series. You are on the radio, the driver at the 55.
Vicente, Space Station Gaming is on the pole. What are your thoughts rolling off P1 here tonight at Richmond for the first time?
I really didn't expect this. All the guys put in a ton of great work, and I'm really proud to be starting here and starting ahead, in good position.
It's 200 laps. What do you got to do to keep this thing up front tonight?
I think we're going to have to conserve our tires, be really nice to them, kind of be mindful of where everybody else is running, and adjust accordingly.
We wish you all the best. Go get them tonight.
Thank you, guys.
And we're going to cycle through as well and talk to the driver of the number 90. That is Zach Novak. Zach, you and your teammate are starting on the same row. What do you guys have to do to bring these beautiful Richmond Raceway esports cars to the front?
Well, man, I don't know. Just be slow and methodical and take our time. I personally wasn't really expecting to try to qualifying, so to qualify 13th and put ourselves, towards the front is nice. Just hopefully we can, claw through here, and hopefully we have a good piece under us.
Well, we wish you all the best. Go get them tonight.
Thanks, bud.
That's Zach Novak, driver of the number 90. And Evan, those colors are beautiful on that number 90 car.
Looking good, a home race. Both of those Richmond Raceway Esports cars had a good run last year. They want to make up for the way that one ended. Walk through this one, Tim. 200 laps with our Asus Race at Esses.
Yeah, 200 laps, 150 miles. Pit road speed going to be 40 miles an hour. Pit lane delta start to finish, 24 to 25 seconds. 5 tire sets available, plenty of tires for these drivers. Fuel window, 110 to 120 laps. And last year's winner, Ryan Luza.
We've seen a string of back-to-back winners, and we talked about it in Countdown to Green. The last couple of duos have been repeat winners here at Richmond. Of course, Ryan Luza, winner in 2020 and 19. It was Alfala in 18 and 17. Humpy in 16 and 15. Ottinger in 14 and 13. Does that trend continue tonight? Do we see somebody else get some prowess here at Richmond Raceway? The field going to be in the hands of the 55 of Vicente Salas. We're happy that you're spending your Tuesday night with us, and we say let's go short track racing at Richmond. Early advantage, Tim, for that 55. I was worried about the inside being open. He controls top 3, maybe clear. A little bit more hazy from there on back.
And for those two that are up front, Evan, they are rookies in this series, starting on the front row. So I think the first box is kind of checked for those drivers. And then you see the 33 up here at Taylor Hurst. Taylor is really good at Richmond. He's had some really good runs here. I think he's going to be the driver that we really need to watch tonight to pick up another victory in this series.
Got a good starting spot to do so ahead of the 2-time defending winner of this race, and Luza, who sits on his bumper in position number 5. And talking about teammates, how the duo of those William Byron Esports cars behind P6 and 7 side to side between Ottinger and Clampin, and plenty of 2x2 through the field.
They have this thing figured out this season, Evan. They are tied for the team standings on top for William Byron Esports. And it seems like every time the pay window starts to open near the end of these races, Nick Ottinger, Logan Clampett are near the front of the field. So starting off the season strong is always key. As you see the weather, 83 degrees here at Richmond. Beautiful afternoon for racing as these drivers 2x2 down back straightaway. Matt Busa trying to pick up one more.
The big thing I noticed there, Tim, track temperature, 104 degrees. It's hot. It means it's going to be slick, and I think that might be a storyline if these drivers have issues to keep these cars planted to the track this afternoon.
And I think we're starting to see some rhythm by at least these top 8 or top 9. Get single file, get some laps in. There's Keegan Leahy, and he's going to go to the outside 3 wide. Keegan's used to starting on the pole or near the front of the field. He's got a couple of poles so far this season. So this is kind of uncharted territory early in these races for the VRS number 32. But he's trying to make some moves. Give him credit for it.
A 23-11 has been the best qualifying team so far this season, and he and his teammate Mitchell DeYoung in this battle. The 23 up the road a little bit with the Root Insurance colors on board this afternoon, but split in between them was at 36 as Shearburn went out in a 3-wide battle. Now the look to the bottom, the number 44 of Isaac Gann, the Valvoline entry for Kligerman Sport. Down on the inside of the Bud Motorsports Ford, that's Matt Busa on the outside, and a battle for P11. And then it's the Richmond Raceway duo you can see lurking from behind. Mullis, Novak, 13th and 14th. Have a great view of this battle as crossover. Busa going to go right back down to the inside.
Watching guys like Matt Busa and Keegan Lay kind of rim ride on a couple of these corners, Evan, I'm interested to see what happens with this racetrack this evening. We're not used to seeing those guys run at least that wide and be able to still maintain the momentum and pick up positions. Matt Busa is able to run high one lap, and now he's to the inside of Isaac for this spot. So I'm kind of intrigued in the first couple laps of how this racetrack is going to rubber up.
It'd be fun to see if that maintains over the course of this 200-lap race, or if it kind of starts to get back down to the bottom. 3 wide once more. Leahy really sticking to the outside, trying to make it work, and he's so good off of the corner. He doesn't have a ton of banking to use in his favor, but he's able to wind it up enough that Gann and the 75 of Busa looking to the bottom can't get all the way through. Banking here just 14 degrees, so not a huge run down the hill, but you can see the side-by-side. Chris Shearburn was just making moves, but now he's getting challenged by that 32 down the bottom. So this mid-pack, very active, but surviving the opening 10 laps of a race that, in the last 3 years at least, has been pretty rocky, to say the least. Very different than what it was 5 to 6 years ago. But, Tim, if you can get through this part of the race early, where everybody is on top of each other, that's where the odds of a race going green go up and up, as 3 wide more behind them with the iRacing entry. I believe that was Blade Witt in the middle of it all in the 14. There he is.
Yeah, Blade's making some moves right now. Stephen Wilson in the 17, he's had a great start to this season. To the outside in that Fastenal Ford, trying to pick up one. But you mentioned survival. I'm glad you mentioned it, Evan, and not me. But the other thing that I'm going to bring up is patience. We're seeing a lot of patience early for a short track race. There's only 200 laps here tonight. There's plenty of time to get yourself in trouble, but there's not a whole lot of time, especially if you kind of stepped on it on your qualifying lap to get it done. So I'm impressed with all the patience that we're seeing, and these drivers are able to make some moves, and the other drivers are kind of, letting it go early here. You see the 3-car battling with Blade Witt, and Blade Witt's kind of been going up and down the racetrack. It's intriguing to watch here, but I'm impressed with the patience, and if they continue to do that patience, that survival word that you mentioned, Evan, might not come into play, at least early in this race.
You can see a little bit of back-end damage as well on the bumper, that 14 machine. That was on lap number 11. There was just a bit of a stack-up coming off of the corner. The 17 machine had Stephen Wilson checked up, so Witt got on the brakes a bit and got tapped in the back end by Malik Ray. So curious if the rear-end damage is going to hurt him at all, but I think right now his issue is stuck at the bottom and everybody else going to the very outside. And a look further down the road, there's the number 18 machine of Femi Olan, who's also in a battle here. For the moment, single file, but doing his best to work his way through the field. Scored 37th at the moment, so there's a lot of race cars up the road for the Joe Gibbs Racing entry with the Interstate Batteries colors as you go on board. Instinctively, Tim, I saw Blade Witt go way off into the corner there, and normally that's not good news, right? But those guys continue to try to keep that third lane in there. Look at the 88 machine way up the hill for Brad Davies, who's right in the middle of this hornet's nest in 23rd.
He's got his teammate right behind him in Michael Conti, and then in behind them, the new colors for Graham Boland this week for Stuart Haas, and he has had an up-down season so far to really kick off 2021. So there's some drivers here that in the middle of this pack, I'm sure there's some nerves going on here.
I'll tell you what, Tim, if there's one thing to enjoy more than watching racing, it has to be actually racing it. With iRacing, every day is race day. For more information on how to start your sim racing career, log on to iRacing.com today for more information. And maybe a couple of years down the line, work yourself through the eNASCAR Road to Pro ladder. Find yourself competing at the highest level for over $300,000. The battle up front hasn't changed, but it is a good one. Garrett Maines continues to trace the line of the 55 of Vicente Salas for 1 and 2, and they pulled away just a little bit from Bobby Zelensky in third.
We've kind of been looking at the middle of the pack, but this battle really hasn't been a battle until about 3 or 4 laps ago, Evan. Garrett kind of let Vicente go on the leash and kind of let him go by a couple of car lengths, and then started to reel him back in again and said, yeah, it's time to go now. And now he's kind of starting to put a little bit of pressure on him, just let him know that he's there. And this is going to be a battle as we go down the back straightaway into 3 here on lap number 24.
Not bad. You're talking about the rookies, right? And kind of making their mark known, but Salas in just his 6th career start, therefore, in this eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. A real-life karting standout, Tim, but not his first time competing in an iRacing World Championship. Last year in the fall, Andretti Autosport actually tapped Vicente to drive for them in the iRacing Rallycross Championship. So a well-versed driver. We talk about all the guys in here who have a lot of road experience. That's going to be big later on this year when we get to those road courses. I'm sure Vicente would not object to any dirt, not on our calendar, but just goes to show you how multi-talented these guys are as you're on board with the Elliott Sadler Esports entry of Maines, and he is starting to put the pressure on right on the bumper of that Space Station Gaming Mustang up in front of him. How patient are you when it's only 27 laps into the race? Do you move somebody yet? He's definitely knocking on the door, I think figuratively and literally, getting real close to that bumper a few times.
Let's lay it to you this way, too. He's from Virginia. The team is from Virginia, so you'd have to believe there's a little bit of pressure on Mr. Maines this evening to win his hometown race. And how about this? 3 wide racing. There's the other Elliott Sadler Esports entry, and he's kind of stuck in the middle of a battle. There's the 21 of Lowe. You've got Graham Boland to the outside. There's some big names here that are on the move, and I see Ray Alfala starting to put the boots on.
Now Fallon mid-pack here as he tries to work his way through the field. Not a lot of movement up and down at the front, but mid-pack is where all of the action has been early in this one, and you're on board there with Garrett Lowe. He's down 6 spots from the start of this race, but he's got a good view of the battle between Boland on the outside and Crowder down on the inside. And you got, as you mentioned, Alfala, Justice, Duval, Kerwin, some of the other names just in the mix here towards the tail end of your top 20 runners. Now 29 laps in here from Richmond. It's always those 3 wide moments that make your heart stop just a little bit, because it's so easy for somebody to just take one misstep and get into somebody. But I think these guys are doing their very best, and even when they do go 3 wide, to be patient for now. Now, I know patience isn't synonymous with short track racing, so that will expire at some point. But for the moment, I think everybody out there driving it with a pretty level head.
You can't win the race on lap number 30, but you can sure lose it on lap number 30 if something doesn't go your way. And one thing we kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, we're starting to see some more cars, especially in the middle of this pack, pop up to the 2nd and 3rd groups here. This is exciting racing to watch. There's a little bit up the road as well, so these guys aren't afraid to do 3 wide racing, and you know what? There's plenty of room to do so.
Oh, and the 8 car got out of the gas. I don't know if Conti was loose or was spooked, but he lifted just a moment. The car twitched. Now he is looking to the side of the 52 of Jacob Matheson. The 6 car Align wins the battle. Look out. 3 wide in a battle for 23rd, and it continues, Tim. We've seen this since Atlanta. Multi-groove racing. They've got options. Matheson a touch too high. He caught the fence.
and still able to keep on rolling on that outside line. Looks like Dylan Duval trying to join him on that outside. Is up the hill in the middle went Graham Bolin, and now they get back to 2 wide, but you better believe Graham is going to try to get to that right rear of the one of Ashton Crowder and try to pick up one. Matheson is able to fall into line, and you know what? Jake's had a very busy start to this season, Evan. Not only is he racing here in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, been doing some racing with the Pro All-Star Series, raced at Hickory, raced at Thompson, and now he's in a mess here as you look back from Nathan Lyon.
Another one of your rookies, right? We talk about how big of a factor they are, especially in recent years with all the competition coming up through that road to pro ladder. The fact that on any given season, you've got about a quarter of the field replaced every year. That's a mix of drivers who may be coming back to this series from dropping down, or true-blooded rookies, and it's good to see how they make some noise as that 6 Lion, up 3 spots from the get-go, just wants to stay ahead of that mess, Tim. That shot off of the bumper, I promise you, he wants nothing to do with that behind him. He's kind of the lead of this big pack of cars in 22nd spot.
Yeah, and you look right in behind them a couple of rows back. They are getting busy. The McLaren Shadow cars on the inside. There's the one of Crowder trying to pick up one more spot. This has been the battle for about the last 10 to 15 laps or so. It's been 2, it's been 3 wide. This is the calmest that it's been, and we've got 1 2-wide battle. They're putting on a show back here, and Conti continues to step up to the outside.
Keeping it busy back there. Meanwhile, up front, the advantage for Salas and Mains has grown now to 2.2 seconds over Bobby Zelensky in third. So no changes top 5. It is still Salas, Mains, Zelensky, Hurst, and Luza. They run in the exact order in which they started this race some 38 laps ago. The gap between 1 and 2 has grown by about 3 car lengths. Last time we checked in, Mains was looking like he was prepping for a pass. Instead, maybe now just trying to play catch-up as that 55 machine seems to be cruising already nearly 1/5 of the through this Richmond 200.
This is kind of the biggest gap that they've had in the last 10 laps or so, about where they started this run. Vicente's able to get a couple of car lengths back on Garrett Mains, and I think Garrett's kind of the cat right now. He's able to get up there, claw his way up, maybe put some pressure on Vicente, and then Vicente maybe steps it up, and maybe Garrett kind of comes back a little bit. It's kind of a cat and mouse game, and Evan, I'd rather be the cat right now and kind of control this battle, stay in position number 2 and put that pressure on.
Yeah, I'm always going to buy into that as well. I think the only time that I, may want to flip that is, the age-old question of restrictor plate racing, right? Do you want to be in first or second? I think any other time when you could make the calls and you don't have to react to what somebody else is doing, whether it's how hard you're driving on a green flag run, what you're going to do come pit strategy time, I always prefer to be the one making control of those decisions. And it is a pretty short track. Of course, we talked about all of that. Your race leader's coming off of turn 4 now. The end of the lead lap is kind of just right now off of 2, so about a straightaways of difference. But normally, Tim, at some of the big tracks, when your leader starts to catch lapped cars, it's 1 at a time, 2 at a time, right? The back of the pack is where all that fighting's been that we've been looking at. So if we go green another 20 laps, so this is what your leaders are going to catch if this race stays green. So they're enjoying the clean air now, but eventually you're going to catch up to this mid-pack battle where they're 2 wide, some 5 rows deep right here.
I appreciate a beautiful looking race car. How about that fistful of bourbon number 15 for Kane Cook, Jim Beaver Esports? That is a beautiful car. Saw that earlier on social media. They're running a promotion, and the 16 of John Gorlinski is running a 4-wheel drift. He had that little contact in behind him, and he keeps going. That might have been more of a boost than anything.
It gets away with one there. As like I said, any sort of misstep in a big pack like this is where I'm going to be concerned, but got a little bit loose, was able to keep the car in control, and didn't lose anything from it. So I'd say that's pretty good overall, as you see the 16 of Machida John Gorlinski still up top behind the 41 of Duval, but ahead of the 29 of Zach Nichols. Of course, we saw his teammate get into the fence a couple of times. The Williams Esports Ford right here. I mean, this is some 15 seconds off the race lead, but don't tell them that. They are racing hard in a battle for 35th or so.
Yeah, don't want to say they've got to get to stepping, but they are around the 30th place position as Matheson gets into the wall, saves it with a little help from the wall, and continues on. That could have been a lot worse than it was, and I think it's going to get a little bit worse. He's still stuck on the outside, and he's got a handful.
Got squeezed up the hill just a little bit by the 16, and now here comes the 41 of Duval. He'll go through the middle, so all of that chaos towards the back of the pack carries on. Meanwhile, things are a little bit more calm in the teens. No more than 10-15 laps ago, Tim, this mid-pack portion of the field saw a lot of side-by-side and 3 wide, but for the most part, they are trying to spread things out. Corey Vincent's been in the center of attention a lot tonight. Let's ride with the number 3 Chevrolet. It's your Coca-Cola onboard camera. A spin and a yellow. The 36 of Chris Shearburn, and the green flag run is broken at lap 49.
And innocent enough, a little bit of a spin, no harm, no foul. I don't see a whole lot of contact on, or damage on that 36 car, but it puts us under caution for the first time, and we're already a quarter through this race.
Jimmy Mullis says over the radio that he apologizes for that one. An early touch sends the 36 car around, but it has been all Vicente Salas leading green so far. You're watching round 6 of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
This Coca-Cola Zero Sugar tastes mighty delicious.
Come on, buddy.
But
If you keep lying like this, you'll be a puppet forever.
It's the honest truth.
You're right. It's delicious.
I never lie.
Chaos in a good way. I am everything you want to see at once. Coming at you like a comet on fire. I am bumping, banging, and battling to the finish.
It is all on the line.
Because if you can conquer this series, you can conquer anything.
That was some intense racing.
I am the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. I am NASCAR.
And back live from the virtual Richmond Raceway coverage. Tonight's race is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR. And by DoorDash, proud sponsor of 2311 Racing. You saw it all on nonstop there. Pit stops under caution to flying conditions. No changes at the front of the field. Still Vicente Salas, Garrett Maines, and Bobby Zelensky 1, 2, and 3. Tim, let's take a look at why we're under the caution to flying. We saw the result. Let's see the why.
You mentioned Jimmy Mullis came across the radio and apologized to Chris, just getting into the corner right there, and just that little bit of a touch to the Azus Latardi Sports number 36. Doesn't get the wall, gets it woed down just enough. That's the veteran in Chris Shearburn getting that thing woed down, and he'll live to fight another day. And JP, what do you got down there on pit road?
Well, Garrett Maines, prior to that caution, had been talking about on the radio how he hadn't been able to push the power down since going to the middle line. He asked for adjustments to be able to turn better late off the corner. So expect Maines to be a little bit quicker on corner exit here at the start of this run.
If that could be the trick the two-car needs to solve the 55. It's an early jump, though, for Salas. We're racing 54 laps down.
They go down into corner number 1 here, Evan, and we'll see what the 2-car can do of Maines and see how much pressure he puts on Vicente. They run down the back straightaway. They have been the story. Zielinski to 3rd, and now we got a side-by-side battle for 4th.
And it is the Ford of Ryan Luza on the bottom, trying to pick up a position right on the door of Taylor Hurst as they whip down into the corner, 150 miles an hour through the field. It looks like Hurst on the top side. Remember, a lot of drivers early in this one wanted to make that one work, but looks like a dead heat in this battle for P4 at the moment.
You know what, looking through these shots, seeing a lot of drivers with a lot of respect right now. There's a lot of two-wide racing, and Evan, we saw it through the first 50 laps. There's a lot of respect being shown, which the patience level is there. Everybody is playing nice so far. Are we sure we're at Richmond?
Right, the one yellow that we've had so far was a very accidental touch. I mean, very non-short track-esque thus far. You would think drivers would be maybe not rude, but maybe just a little bit more assertive, if you would. That's what you expect when you come to racetracks that are under a mile in length. And a lot of people have the debate, Tim, is Richmond Raceway America's longest short track, or is it its shortest speedway? Either way, it has some kind of characteristics of both.
And we're starting to see multi-groove here. The 75 of Matt Busa going to the outside. There's Stephen Wilson in the 17. He's put on a really good season so far, and we keep talking about the boat getting full and these drivers winning and potentially not having a driver point their way into the playoffs, but Stephen Wilson's quietly been able to pick up some points and have those quote-unquote good points nights, and right now it looks like he's on track to do it again.
And I think fitting that he drives in that number 17 car for Roush Federer Racing Team, given his history on the sim. Driver previously competed in the World Outlaws Late Model World Championship here on the service. We talk about the onboards putting you in the action. Let's ride with a look at our DoorDash onboard camera. You can listen to the car slide as he waits to get onto the gas. Blake Reynolds a little bit further down the road. The number 66 car rides in 25th spot at the moment, door-to-door with Malik Ray.
And you look at this battle that he is in right now. He's got the 38 of Kerwin up the road there, in behind Ray Alfala, who's won here a few times. In very good company right now, but you mentioned it. This is for 25th. There's some work to be done by Mr. Reynolds.
And as we go on board with him, we can see, Tim, that the lean, I think he thinks, helps that car rotate through the corner just a little bit. Obviously wants to get that thing to rotate, I think, a little bit better. That's kind of the sim racing equivalency of being able to tell if the car's not turning. If he's turning way into it, you can also see the RPM light right there, center of the wheel, as he basically redlines that thing most of the time down that second half of the front straightaway and off it into the corner. Meanwhile, up the road, the 6 car was nearly 3 wide, so he and the 11 may have to worry about some of that traffic if they catch up.
I think that's what I'm missing on my sim racing career in trying to get my performance better is the lean. I think that's what I'm going to have to do to bring myself up to be one of those better drivers. I'm learning as we go here on Tuesday nights, but what a show these drivers are putting on here, middle of the pack. Derek Justice, top 3 run the last time we ran, and you got to believe he's got some momentum. He's right in behind Malik Ray Alfala, holding some great company back here and holding some pretty wheels, doing a great job.
And speed solves all things. If a fast-looking race car added a couple of bit of horsepower, I think the 37 would be great, because that Louisiana Hot Sauce 37 Chevy looks fast, Tim, but it is so hard to gain positions in bulk when you're in traffic like this. Can't go to the bottom because Ray Alfala's there. Can't really go much further forward unless you're following the 11 Malik Ray. So that's where qualifying becomes a huge factor. Is you can have some speed, but if you're stuck in a pack like this, can only do so much with it.
We saw that Derek is good on the fuel mileage that we had last week, so maybe this thing does go green, and maybe we do see some green flag pit stops. A little bit of smoke there. No harm, no foul, though. Everybody racing close for position, and Malik Ray holding that outside line and currently holding off Reynolds on the inside and trying to go on the offense as well, almost looking 3 wide.
And talking about fuel and strategy, so far nobody has gone off cycle as we take a look once more. Salas leading Maines, leading Zelensky, 1, 2, and 3 still. Everybody who came down pit road and pitted under the caution flag took 4 tires and fuel. So that was a universal decision. They've been on this set of tires now for 19 laps since they put them on under the yellow. But Maine stayed behind that 55, Tim, the entirety of that first run, it seems. But that time, he peeked to the outside. Curious if the 2 cars searching, trying to mix things up just a bit. Maybe influenced by the fact that Zelensky hasn't fallen off as fast as he did last time.
Yeah, Bobby fully a part of this battle, and he kind of backpedaled there, I think, when he saw the 2 switch the lanes and go to the outside and try to make that move. So keep an eye on the 83. Mentioned off the top of the show that we expect some of those drivers that are good at road courses and good at certain racetracks to win their way into the playoffs. You know, there's a couple of road courses coming up. Bobby's pretty darn good when we turn right and left, but if he can get a win at a short track, I think that sends a huge statement to this series that he's here to play all season long, and he's putting on a pretty good run up here to position number 3.
Doing a great job. We talk about, the race winners this year. Michael Conti, Keegan Leahy, Ryan Luza, Logan Clampett, and Bob Bryant, 1, 2, and 3 on track right now, looking for a first win this year. Race win numbers for Salas Domains would be very different than that for Bobby Zelensky as we check back in mid-pack with Casey Kerwin up 10 positions mid-pack. That's the 3rd biggest mover on the night. Started 34th. He's 24th right now. And ahead of a battle you see out the back end with that 66 Reynolds got a little bit close to the 11.
Focus, absolute focus from Casey Kerwin and trying to go on the offense, but you better believe he's kind of keeping an eye on that rear view mirror and seeing what is happening out back of him. But that focus is something, talking to the crew just a little bit, letting them know what's going on, but we haven't really seen a blink out of him yet, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so. We'll see how long he can go with that, but his eye's going to be burning by the end of the night if he's that locked in. And a little bit further down the road, Ray Alfala, somebody else who's trying to pick up some spots here. Also, you can see Casey looked very calm, right? He didn't have that kind of seesaw action on the wheel. Ray Alfala kind of cutting back and forth on that thing, trying to get that rowdy energy number 51 Toyota to do what he wants it to. Also, no blinking, not a lot of chatter. There's a blink in there, Tim, but the wheel input, very different those last 2 looks.
Yeah, Ray's got a little more of a handful right now as you come up at a corner number 4 and down the front straightaway. JP, what do you got on Mr. Alfala?
When it comes to Ray Alfala, too loose on the long run is one of the biggest complaints and struggling to pass early in the runs. He's focused on trying to save his tires right now in the heart of this pack. The 3-time race winner here at Richmond looking to try and get through this pack.
And of course, those wins, I talked about the trends. Ray won back-to-back races here in 2017 and 2018. Those line up pretty good with a championship in 2017 and 18. So if Ray Alfala is doing good at Richmond, it is a good sign. But he also won here way back in 2011. Tim, another year in which he won a championship. So if he wants some hardware at the end of the year, he needs to get about 29 more spots because that seems to be the key for whatever reason.
And you mentioned those repeat winners. It's time for a new repeat winner as you see the battle for 10th on your screen. Mitchell DeYoung and Stephen Wilson, 2 rookies in this series going at it, but lose the last 2 years. 2 years before that, Ray Alfala, Kenny Humpy before that, Nick Odger before that. So who is going to be maybe a new winner here? You can check out all the information on this series, Evan, over at iRacing.com/eNASCAR. Did you check out that media guide? We've mentioned it a couple of times, but that thing is pretty stout.
It is my go-to cheat sheet. I give a shout-out to Chris Leone for putting that together the other day on Twitter and reference it when we're talking about the history of all of these drivers. And if you like stats like me, that's the place to go. So iRacing.com/eNASCAR to keep up everything on the 2021 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Not only from a fan perspective, trying to learn more about where we are in the championship, but kind of learning what it takes to get to this level. It ties in with what I was talking about earlier. Get on iRacing today and start your own road to $300,000 by trying to eventually work your way up to this level of competition.
Have we mentioned yet tonight that Chris Overland won a Road to Pro race here back last week?
If we hadn't mentioned it, he had to have mentioned it like 4 times on the countdown to green. And it's a familiar look at number 16, speaking of Chris Overland, but behind the wheel of it is John Gorlinski, and they are 3 wide. Duval up top. It's Est on the bottom. It's a battle for 28th spot. The 41 wins out, but a little bit too deep into the corner and 3 abreast again.
Ooh, it's tight off of corner number 2 there. Michael Guest, you ride on board with. He's got that big green egg pointed towards the front of the field. Started scratch here this evening and continues to work his way towards the front. Michael Guest putting the boots on and going to work, trying to pick up one more on John Gorlinski and Dylan Duval next up on that outside line.
I feel like Dylan Duval's been on the outside since we went back green. I know Malik Ray was up there for a bit. He's been able to work his way back down to the bottom. Malik Ray going the wrong direction, though, thus far in this one, a -9 so far. That makes him the second furthest dropper aside from the cars that have been in accidents and are at the back of the field. And he will jump out of that 3-way battle. Guest going to go through on the bottom and 16 to machine up top. Of Gorlinski will continue their side-by-side escapades. But long green flag run to start this race. Tim thought that maybe that first yellow was going to be an opportunity for this race to get a little bit of a caution flag bug. As you can see Malik Ray there, left-hand side of your screen. But so far, so good. Breaking in now, 35 laps of racing since the restart.
Got some Rowdy off to the back. He's got I think that's a Kyle Busch helmet by the looks of it there. So
is it signed too? I think there's a signature on that visor, so that's pretty cool.
That's pretty neat. And Malik right now trying to pick up those couple of spots. He might have to put that helmet on if he gets up here. If Richmond becomes as rough and tumble as it might get at the end of the race, he might have to throw that helmet on.
I know Rowdy Energy is good. I've been able to try it recently and proud to see them supporting everybody in this eNASCAR series. Not only Malik, of course, who has that history racing with Joe Gibbs Racing on this side of things, but also on board with Ray Alfala's car directly behind him as well. So that could be interesting for him to see in the rearview mirror. And sticking with the theme of the onboard cameras, it's right on board with Matt Busa, 13th position right now, dropping back just a little bit, trying to carry the flag for Mode Motorsports. And look how much calmer things are, Tim, back end of the top 10 compared to back there in the 20s.
He's got the checkered flag in the background. He's got the Harvick flag back there as well. And he's kind of calm and looking up ahead of him, trying to pick up one spot on Bob Bryan. And you want to talk about a driver that went to victory lane the last time we raced for the first time in this series, and veterans of this eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series that maybe haven't been there in a while. Matt Busa has a win in this series. He's been quietly reeling off decent finishes, top 5 last week, and trying to get back to the win. And he actually looked good in practice, looked good in qualifying. I think Matt Busa might have something before this thing is all said and done tonight.
I think that's a race use checkered flag as well. I don't know from what year, but it's February 22nd or 21st. I think that's second race of the year normally, so that's pretty cool. And on board with Brian Schoenberg, real low angle. Tim, we've seen a lot of drivers. We talk about their difference in style, right? I mean, his face has got to be what? 4 inches off of the wheel. I mean, he is really close, and it's a totally different driving style when it comes to the position of his hands that are really low on the wheel, which means his elbows are going to be tucked in compared to some drivers who drive much further out. Look at both hands. That's the shift paddle there. Dale Jr. style. Both hands are on the left side of the wheel, Tim. Not, 9 and 3. They're both on one side of the wheel when he's going through the corner there, and very chatty as well.
And, I've seen Brian race for a while, and he's been in this series since pretty much day number 1. That would be another one that's looking for his first win in this series. But you'll see him kind of saw on the wheel, and you'll see the elbow kind of come up. It's not like he's trying to double arm or double cross the hands on the wheel. The elbows do come up. That's the true definition of a short track racer. And Brian is in 38th right now. He is due for his first series win. If Bob Bryant can do it, pretty sure Brian Schoenberg is next up in line to get that victory.
Easily a name up there when you talk about drivers who have competed at this level for so much time that have yet to score a victory, that I think everybody would love to see it. He has, I believe, 168 career starts. Still looking for a first career win. He is the longest tenured driver without a race win in this eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. He would love to snap that drought, but needs a little bit of help maybe by some luck and strategy tonight. 38th position. You can tell just based on how he's been handling the wheel this whole time we've been looking in. The car is not handling how he would want it. And Keegan Leahy's in 9th, but a caution flag towards the rear. So that... I guess, I don't want to say lackadaisical, but that calmness of him by being on his own is going to go away because the one car is around. That's Ashton Crowder. He was running back towards the rear.
And he's got a little bit of damage on the rear of that race car. So the first car that's really torn up here tonight. You mentioned survival earlier, Evan. I think that might be the first car, and we're just a couple of laps shy of the halfway mark. That's showing a little bit of battle scars, a little bit of damage.
Not bad. 2 cautions through the opening 100 laps here at Richmond. But if you have green flag racing, 200 laps to get half the distance of the NASCAR Cup Series race here isn't a long race. It's when you get those restarts and the cautions where things can drag out just a little bit. So great pace to start this 6th round of the season. We have yet to see a pass for the race lead tonight, as Vicente Salas has had things on lock. Everybody down pit road, Tim. They all agreed 4 tires and fuel last time. I'm not expecting anybody to stray this time.
You've got enough sets of tires down here, and you can go, as we saw with the Azus race analysis, you can go halfway. And let's take a look at the replay here. And Malik Ray, and sideways he goes. Oh, Femi gets into it right at the end. A little bit of damage to the 18, and then the 1 backs it into the wall of Ashton Crowder. So first major incident we've seen all night long, Evan, and it was only a couple of cars, but we've got a couple of torn up race cars back there.
Peak angle off of the pit road here. You can see how it curves down on the inside of turns 1 and 2, and the race off of pit road will yield no surprises, no changes through your top 5. It is Salas, Maines, Zielinski, Luza, and Hurst. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 off of pit road, Tim. And if it wasn't for the contact, that would have been a great save for Malik Ray with the bobble and the catch. Just unfortunate placement for Ashton Crowder there. And even worse for the driver of the 18 machine, Tim. You mentioned Femi Olat was late into that contact. He's got some damage, and you're chatting with him now.
Yeah, Femi, what did you see from your vantage point there?
They just wrecked. I honestly have no idea. I saw someone hit the wall. I thought they were going to spin down the track and I'd be clear, but I tried to get hard on the brakes and it just didn't work out.
You were down on pit road there. How bad's the damage?
50 seconds. We don't have engine damage, but I mean, there's aero damage, but I don't think it's going to matter much. Can't pass. So just try to tough it out from here. Hopefully get lucky with some cautions, maybe pull some strategy and try to do the best we can.
Go get him tonight.
Thank you.
That's Femi Olat, and I believe we're going to catch up with Ashton Crowder as well. Ashton, that's a tough break. What did you see?
Yeah, I mean, I came off a 2 there. I sped, first of all, to put myself in that position, so that was sad. But I came off a 2, and then I wrecked. And I was like, dang, man, that's crazy. We haven't had the best night. My blood sugar was like in the 50s and 40s before qualifying. I was so good all week practicing for that, and then I just couldn't focus. And then first, 20 laps of the race, I couldn't focus because of that too, and it was so sad. Now we're here, but the Nutrient Ag Solutions Toyota Camry, it's hooked up, man. It's hooked up to him. And just gotta, thank everybody back at the shop for that, ESE, the man upstairs. It was a really good car, and just a shame to see it go down like that. But Malik apologized, and I love Malik, man. He's so nice. So, yeah, big time. Happens.
It looked good for a while. We'll see you in a couple of weeks here. Best of luck the rest of the way in this championship here.
Thank you so much.
That's Ashton Crowder, and you hate to see it, Evan, for Ashton, who's fought his way up through this series, and the win is going to come. You talk about different winners in this series. We've had 5 so far. Wouldn't surprise me to see Ashton's name on that list before this season is all said and done.
And goes to show you as well that you can have an incident at a short track where somebody apologizes and that's it, right? I mean, these guys do understand that hey, someone's going to make a mistake. Fortunately, Ashton comes short end there, but not everything ends in fisticuffs on the short track. The green flag flies. We are back underway. 98 laps left to go from Richmond. And Salas leads to 1. Clear for second is Garrett Maines. Is there going to be battle for third? Luza looks to the outside of Zelensky.
Luza made up some ground on that last restart, was able to pick up that 1 position, and now he's going to try to take that outside line and do one more with Bobby Zelensky as they drive down the front straightaway into corner number 1. Beautiful shot of the field.
The X-Set Ford up top, fighting side by side with Bobby Zelensky on the bottom, and the 4 car has a nose in front as they fly down the back straightaway. But in the corner, the cars at the bottom dive it back in, pull alongside. You're seeing the same thing in the battle with Nick Ottinger and Taylor Hurst behind for P5 and P6, but he is clear, and up to position number 3 goes Ryan Luza.
Top 3, top 4 or so get single file. Taylor Hurst working to the inside. There is Luza. You got Zelensky in behind him, then that side-by-side battle in behind. But we've seen it's kind of been comfortable here up near the front of this field. We kind of saw in that onboard with Keegan Leahy. He was kind of relaxed, was able to relax a little bit more when that caution flag came out. But Evan, the one thing that we mentioned, we're past halfway. Does that relaxation and sense of urgency start to come up a little bit here as we inch a little bit closer to the end of this race as Keegan came close to that wall?
You have to think that it means there's going to be a little less give and a little more take. But you take into consideration the fact that we've been 3 wide for much of this one as Wilson squeezes his way back in between DeYoung and the 46 Samolis, but doesn't want to do anything with it, just holds line for the moment. If you're going to take a little bit more in some close situations that we've already had tonight, it could mean things are getting ready to get a little bit out of hand. They get only yellows through the opening 108 laps of this race. Very well disciplined thus far. The incidents that we've seen have been pretty calm. Busa may have gotten a hip check just a little bit there by the 3 car, and that's why that number 75 machine finds himself up top. He's fallen 6 spots from the get-go, and now Michael Conti looking to the inside. But that happened down in 1, Tim. That's why you had Vincent, the 77, the 10, all those cars get by him. I think there was a little bit of a touch there, and that cost Busa all 3 spots right there.
But he doesn't miss much of a beat. He's on the outside line, able to roll the top and try to pick up 1, or keep 1, I guess, on Michael Conti, as Conti tries to get back to the inside. Graham Boland, Bob Bryan a part of this battle as well. Graham trying to pick up a decent finish and kind of turn his season around. He's had a couple of dismal runs and wants to get a couple of better runs here to kind of give that momentum, give that shot in the arm here from race number 6 on. And currently on that outside, looking to pick up 1 on the winner from 2 weeks ago.
And doing his very best to fight back, right? I mean, he could have easily lost the spot to Vincent, to Boland, to Bryant, let Conti get on by and then kind of let it go, but he's really trying to fight back. And just a step down the road is where all of this action is, right in the middle of it all. The number 6 machine at 8th and Lion. Up top, Tim, if you're ready for a barbecue, you've got the Oscar Mayer hot dogs car on top of the big green egg car on the bottom. So if we're ready for barbecue season, this is the battle right here between the 6 and a 9 car, Lion and Guest, for 23rd and 24th.
Yeah, and I'm going to put some Louisiana hot sauce on my Oscar Mayer wiener. Where's the fistful of bourbon car? Where's King Cook?
Then we're really in business, right?
You know what? Jim Beaver has it figured out. Summer is coming. I love it.
Well, mid-pack, they're making things hungry. The battle for 22nd or so. And again, this is what we've seen all night. These cars locked in these side-by-side fights. You see the 14 machine a little bit slow into the corner. Blade Witt still has that rear-end damage that I noted from earlier. But it doesn't appear like it's been hurting him that much. Started in 18th, he rides in 20th. I feel like if it was hindering him, we would have seen the 14 slide. So kudos on that Clint Boyer Racing entry for holding strong up top, trying to hold off Casey Kerwin's 38 car down on the bottom of the racetrack. He'd love to get up to where his teammate is in the top 3, the other of that X-Set duo.
And Casey's been kind of quiet here tonight. He's been focused. We saw him a little bit earlier on the onboard look, but for a driver that has amassed the most points this season without a victory. He's kind of been quiet. Maybe this isn't his favorite racetrack or his best racetrack. Maybe trying to survive here. But in the second half, you have to keep an eye on where that 38 XSET car kind of lands. Not only are they going for that Drivers' Championship, Evan, but they're going for the Team Championship as well. We mentioned Ryan Luza up in the top 3. XSET sits 3rd in the Team Championship. So there's plenty of dynamic to follow if you're a part of the XSET team.
Yeah, we talk about that team championship, and of course there are 20 different teams represented. There's a touch, and what a save, Casey Kerwin. He leaned on the 37 car, broke loose, and held on, and he'll only lose about a spot or two as he gets right back into the action now in a fight with Blake Reynolds. But what a catch for Kerwin. That could have spelled disaster.
Yeah, we talked about a quiet night for Casey Kerwin. It just got a little bit louder, I guess. Not necessarily the quietest of nights. And there is Brad Davies in the axe number 88. And I'm not sure if you can make the flame a little bit bigger with that the big green egg when you're cooking those Oscar Mayer wieners, but that might be a fire starter. And Brad's trying to get his fire started and inch his way a little bit closer towards the front of the field. Been a big week for Junior Motorsports. How about Josh Berry going to victory lane at Martinsville?
Yeah, we talk about the history of this series, right? Josh Berry now becomes the second driver to both win a race in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series and win a NASCAR National Touring Series race. Of course, the other driver to do so, Dale Earnhardt Jr., won the first ever race in this series history way back on February the 9th of 2010. Josh Berry, Tim, a 3-time race winner in this series. But don't get me wrong, Josh Berry, far from just a sim racer, one of the most accomplished short trackers out there.
Yeah, part of the Cars Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour a few seasons ago, won the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series in 2020, has won the big race at Martinsville for the late model stocks, so plenty of experience in the sim and also in the real world as well. So congratulations to Josh and the entire 8 team for that victory on Sunday. But Brad Davies trying to pick up one more for JRM in the Commonwealth, and he's got some work to do to get up there and battle. You know he would love to punch his playoff ticket, if not tonight, before we get into the playoffs and fight for a championship.
And Davies, another driver. You talk about series veterans who has his share of race wins. A 6-time race winner in this series, Tim, but they all came. And talk about throwing it back. All 6 of those wins came in 2010 and 2011 when he got 3 race wins apiece. So somebody who, we talked in, and you heard it there with the feature in Countdown to Green, refreshed by Coca-Cola, talking with Bob Bryant, Tim, somebody who had been around for sim racing for some time, stepped aside and come back. It's not just all these young guns, the vets and the guys who have grown up in this sim racing world, and even got racing on some of the console and arcade games before the word sim racing was ever even coined, have come back to get to this top level, and certainly a power duo there for the Junior Motorsports cars. Looking up to the 46 of Jimmy Mullis, he was P12. He's up 2 spots from the get-go, and again, Tim, rinse, wash, repeat. You get a restart, you get a couple of look, but it is always Vicente Salas and Garrett Maines 1 and 2, and that 2 car just a little bit off as he continues to keep the 55 in check.
And JP mentioned earlier about the drive off, the corner exit for the 2 car, and we're about 25 or so laps into this run. It's a big enough sample size that I think, Evan, we can kind of see if the drive off is there, and he's keeping up. As you can see, both drivers saw on the wheels here, and compared to like a Ray Alfala that we saw earlier, they look kind of smooth on the wheel. It looks like those cars are driving well, though Garrett may have missed the corner there.
Yeah, I don't think that was the corner that he wanted, and he'll lose about a half a car length or so, but here's the split. The 55 of Vicente Salas to the bottom, the Garrett Maines to the very outside, and the 2's going to reel him back in at the end of the straightaway, and ends up as kind of a zero-sum game. Now this time in 1 and 2, the 2 car will follow him down on the...
And if you're going to try some different corner entries, try something different, this is the time to try. You see Luza back there with Bobby Zielinski. They're far enough back that you can kind of try this and try to make this work. And if it doesn't work, still got plenty of laps left and still got plenty of time to catch Vicente. And you know what? He's losing a little bit on that wide entry, but he's gaining most of it back on corner exit.
He is, and that's where it ends up, as I mentioned, that kind of zero-sum game. So if going off long puts you pretty even with him, does that mean that Garrett Maines is going to want to continue to experiment just a little bit? I mean, neither of those drivers, Tim, but those onboard looks on the left look, entirely stressed or concerned. In fact, I'm pretty impressed with how stoic Garrett looks in second spot right now, considering I know how hard he's trying to wheel that car to catch up to the 55. And just kind of looking at the wheel input with the two of them, I really don't notice much of a difference. So I'd say both the 55 and the 2 car run pretty good right now.
And Garrett does some real-world racing, does some U.S. Legend car racing as well, so he would know the little bit of that pressure being behind the wheel and having to pick up the spot and having to do what you have to do to get a position as we ride on board with Logan Clamben.
Closing in on the home stretch from Richmond with 67 laps to go, it continues to be the Vicente Salas show. He has led from the get-go. We'll step aside for a moment as Garrett Maines continues to trace him up front. You're watching round 6 of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series on the iRacing Esports Network.
This Coca-Cola Zero Sugar tastes mighty delicious.
Come on, buddy.
But
If you keep lying like this, you'll be a puppet forever.
It's the honest truth.
You're right. It's delicious.
I never lie.
I am here and now. Where stories you pass down are born. I am where drivers become legends. And legends become the new kings. I'm where nothing's impossible. Even a champion rise again in Phoenix. I'm moving forward. And if you really try, you can catch me. I am NASCAR.
And back live from Richmond Raceway, coverage of tonight's action brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR. And by Asus, the official gaming hardware partner of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. Well, Tim, in baseball, there's the perfect game or an immaculate inning, but so far, Vicente Salas has been immaculate tonight. He has led all the way now, working lap number 139, mid-pack. Not quite so simple. Nathan Lyon in the middle, with almost a slide and a save for Derek Justice. He nearly got turned off of the nose of John Borlinski.
We almost spilled the hot sauce out of corner number 2, and that wouldn't have been good. That would have been a mess, but great save by Derek Justice, and now he chases down the Oscar Mayer number 6 of Nathan Lyon and Casey Kerwin in the 38. We've had a lot of those near misses tonight, Evan, and these drivers have put on an absolute clinic on how to keep the thing straight, not lose their temper, and continue to go on the offense and do what they do best. So hats off to these drivers, pat on the back, 60 laps to go, but I have a feeling that aggression level, especially where we're watching, might be ramped up just a little bit here in the next few laps.
I think you saw it there, right? I feel like that was a position where we may have gotten away with that contact earlier in the race, late in this one. Maybe trying to stay in the gas a little bit longer. Take a look at the right-hand side of your screen, and you'll see huge bobble for the 6 car. Look out. So more issues there. Raining around the 37 to Derek Justice. Nathan Lyon all over the road on the back straightaway. Catches the car, though, and hangs on. So several now near misses.
But they've all been able to keep it straight, at least in this little pack here. We remain green flag racing, and for the time being, and I say that very cautiously right now, they seem to have it figured out. Nathan Lyon working towards the front of this field has picked his way through a couple of these cars, and look at the Wood Brothers boys going side by side. John Gorlinski, Garrett Lowe going at it.
Good looking duo, ride spin on those Ford Mustangs, and they currently sit, as you talk about those two, in positions 26 and 27 right now, kind of sandwiching that number 37 car, Derek Justice. Both of them sliding, well, for Garrett Lowe's case, I should say, sliding back from the start of the race -5, but in the case of John Gorlinski, up 9. So a bit of a different tale of the tape for those two teammates.
Yeah, we continue to see the 8 or the 16 go forward, and if you want to be a part of this action and you want to eventually get up into this eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, you have to get your iRacing career started first, Evan. Head to iRacing.com and get signed up, and who knows, you might be able to see yourself in this series battling with these drivers here in seasons.
I think what we figured out, Tim, earlier was if you lean in the corner, that's the trick to being fast.
Absolutely. And you know what? I've been doing some racing here the last couple of weeks. I've been playing around with the Super Late model. They put the brand new body on it here a few weeks ago. That thing looks absolutely beautiful. And I hate to say it, I've tore it up a little bit because usually that's the way I use the equipment sometimes. But they've done a great job with not only these NASCAR style cars, the top 3 divisions, but also the Super Late model. JP, what do you got down there?
Well, and that's that 17 to be sheet up on the top side for Wilson. And, you know, that, Tim, it seems like that's a car that we've talked a lot about tonight, but it's been in a good sense for the 17 because he's been moving forwards. Tonight clears the 46 of Jimmy Mullis, who is working with a lot of front-end damage. The 46 did not have that much damage earlier in this race. He got together with Bob Bryant about 2 laps ago on the back straightaway. Those 2 cars touched, and that's why there is so much damage to the front of the 46.
Yeah, we saw it on the screen right behind Stephen Wilson, and again, there's another incident where 2 cars get together, a fight over a piece of real estate, and usually that might precipitate a 3, 4, 5 car wreck, but these drivers are doing a great job being up on the wheel, being cognizant, and being able to save these race cars, and as I say that, there's a caution. Never mind.
Right on cue, lap 150. So a yellow about every 50 laps, I should say, so far tonight from Richmond. And it was John Gorlinski, I believe, in turn number 4. There's the 16 car now rolling. And I saw the smoke down at that end of the racetrack. So something happened with Gorlinski, who was running in 27th spot. That's a shame, Tim, because I had just mentioned about 10 laps prior that he was up 9 spots or so from the get-go and having a good night. And this is going to derail most of those efforts, but will not, I think, throw too much of a curveball strategy-wise. 3rd time down pit road under the yellow. They've come at quarter distance, halfway distance, now at 3/4 distance. We could be looking at our final set of 4 tires and fuel to the end.
I think if I'm Garrett Maines, I have to throw something at that race car for the mid to long run, Evan. We've seen the short run has been good for Garrett Maines, but it's like that long run where he struggles. JP said earlier that the exit, the drive off, was missing, and I think that's kind of what he's missing here. And let's take a look at what happened to John Gorlinski as we look at these pit stops.
You expect them to go for 4 in fuel. Let's watch the 16 car on the bottom. The 37 is up on the top, and right there catches the fence and comes down, and it's going to send the 16 for a ride. Look out. 41 car gets a touch. He's into the fence. And then it spins around him. That was very similar to the bobble from Malik Ray earlier in this race that led to an incident. And John Gorlinski not pitting will come down this next time. Tim, I believe that Vicente has led every lap so far tonight.
And you got to give John some credit, though, to try to save that thing, because it looked like for 3/4 of that straightaway, he had that thing under control, and then just that last minute, that last tug towards the wall, and it just got away from him, and he'll come down, get some damage repaired on that race car, and see what he can do for the rest of this race. The downside is that he's only got 48 laps. He'll have 45-ish or so when we go back to green to get it done.
Yeah, time's going to be limited, and you wonder if Garrett hasn't been able to figure out yet, Tim, what can he do to change that? He's starting to run out of time pretty quickly.
I think the short run, I was about to mention the short run, he's been okay. So if we get a little bit of that aggression come up, that patience runs out, we start to see some caution flags, I think that plays into Garrett Maines' hands more than it does Vicente's. But we get that longer run. We go 40-something laps to the end here. I think Vicente has this thing figured out, but we'll see how this all plays out here.
Still a big question mark, and a lot can happen in the 45 or so laps that we'll have once this race goes back under green flag condition. It is still Vicente Salas first, Garrett Maines second, Ryan Luza third, Bobby Zelensky fourth, and Isaac Gann in fifth. Tim, one of the drivers involved in that incident was Derek Justice, and you're going to dial him up.
Derek, you've had a handful of steering wheel back there in the middle of this pack. What happened there?
It's just racing hard, man. Like, back there in the back is like every trying to get every position. It's short track, and it's really hard to pass today. Yeah, I think Casey drifted up a knee coming out forward one time, and Nathan was losing in front of me, and I got there just right here when he overcorrected into me. Then I was just racing hard against Sean Golinski. I barely tapped the wall, and it just bounced off the wall so violently, and I hooked him. So, that part's my fault, but it's just really, really hard to pass out here.
We'll bring it back to the front. You got 45 laps to get it done.
Thank you.
That's Derek Justice coming off that podium finish 2 weeks ago, Evan, and he's got some work to do, but you best believe he's going to be up on the wheel in that number 37.
Still in it. That's all that matters. All but one car still in this race. Ashton Crowder has gone to the garage. Other than that, 39 of the 40 cars who started this race are still on track. Pace car is going to dive down. Salas controls the restart. He can go early as we come to Barney the Flagman. We're underway. 45 to go.
Yeah, they drive by the start-finish line down into corner number one. Vicente has been able to get some great jumps on these restarts, and now we've got a battle for second. Is this when Ryan Luza pounces?
Into the inside of the two. It was the last restart where he made a pass to the outside of Bobby Zelensky. Now trying to do it on the bottom of Garrett Maines. Maines good off of the corner, though. He will clear and defend P2.
And now we'll see what happens with this side-by-side battle for position number 4. Isaac Gann, haven't talked a whole lot about him this evening, but he is coming to the front, putting himself in a position for another good run. He's to the inside of Logan Clampett.
On each other's door, the way that you have to arc it into the corner here, especially start-finish line, to being so far down to 4, nowhere near centered on the front straightaway, that they stick way up onto the fence and then take a very late dive into the corner. So that bottom lane is always going to be open, and Isaac is trying to make the best of it right now. He's got a nose in front. They're fighting up the road for second and also mid-pack for 15.
Yeah, where do you watch here? Michael Conti to the outside, Bob Bryant to the inside. You've got Zach Novak in this battle as well, trying to pick up at least a top 15 finish, and they kind of scatter in front. There's a little more smoke, little slide, and I think we're going to, maybe not. It's Conti around, and that will probably bring this caution flag out again, and it will.
They stack them up in turns 3 and 4. We've been very fortunate for all the incidents tonight, Tim, to be fairly minor, but that one does tear up a lot of equipment. And inside of the final 50, I cannot say I am surprised that we have reached this point. Caution flag at number 4 on the evening.
This is maybe where that patience begins to wear a little thin and begins to run out. And that hornet's nest that we've seen all race long, Evan, it's been kind of calm, but I think that's kind of where the tipping point was between some of those drivers. And drivers now, scrapping and fighting for a top 10 finish, and it just overflows there.
Take a second look and learn what kicked this one off. As you see the number 2 of Garrett Lowe to the outside of the 3 of Vincent, tucks in line, and right there, he had some help. The 75 pushed him into it. That was Matt Busa. And then once they all get out of control, Mike Conti spins. There's his teammate going through the middle, and a whole bunch of race cars, about a half a dozen or so, I would guess, get some sort of damage.
Looked like there were 3 cars trying to fit into a hole that maybe 1.5 would fit in, and usually when that happens, it doesn't end it well for Matt Busa. Busa was able to get through that, but everybody else slip sliding away, and a couple more cars with a little more damage, and they'll have to scrap their way through the final 35 laps to see what they can salvage from this race now.
Well, now are we at that point, Tim, where, each run I've said, once you get 15 laps into the run, we cut away with things. Now that you've got a yellow, and we're inside of the final 50, it's going to be like this. They say cautions breed cautions. We had averaged about a 50-lap green flag run all night. Cars towards the rear come down to get some damage fixed. I just feel like this could be the turning point where things start to get a little bit crazy.
Yeah, it might get a little bit crazy. I think we're starting to see that, and I think we're at that point where we start to see some more cautions. The aggression level kind of gets turned up a little bit here, and we'll see if we can't chat with one of the drivers that were in that. Garrett, car doesn't look very good from this vantage point. What was your take on that?
Just got run over. Nothing really else to it. We took 2 tires on that stop because we've been stuck in the back all race and really couldn't make any progress. We got a pretty good car. It just takes us 30 laps to get rolling. So just can't go anywhere when you're back there. So we tried something and just got run over for it. Nothing really we could do.
Doesn't look pretty. How bad's the race car back there?
It's pretty bad. We're probably going to be limping it just to at least get some points, but I'm not sure that's possible. But we're going to try.
Go get what you can.
Thank you.
That's Garrett Lowe, and I think, Evan, that I think we're starting to see, as you mentioned, that sense of urgency, the aggression, maybe a little patience running out, and you can hear it in Garrett's voice. He's a little disappointed, and I don't think he's going to be the only one at the end of this one that might have that little bit of disappointment.
Yeah, that was the first thing that was going to come to my mind, right, is the frustration. You could hear it in his voice, and we had kind of joked earlier, some of the incidents drivers had apologized, it all was fine, but late in this race, they were far more consequential. Michael Conti was also involved in that one, Tim.
Mike, what did you see from your windshield?
Well, Tim, it's getting pretty crazy here at the end. Everybody's going for it. A lot of take, not a lot of give, and it looks like a couple cars in front of me ran into each other going into the corner. They had it straightened out. I thought I had a clear hole, and then had a car on my right front. Did a 360 in front of the field, didn't get hit, and we're here in 20 seconds. So I'm impressed by the fact that I did not get hit. I'm not exactly impressed by the driving, but we got 45 to go, so we'll see what happens.
You mentioned that aggression. Does it get turned up now? Do we see a few more yellows here?
Absolutely. I think I've done about 10 Richmond races, and they've all ended with a bunch of yellows. So I am ready for whatever ensues, Tim. Ready to go.
Go get what you can, bud.
Thank you.
That's Michael Conti, and he'll roll from the middle of the pack, Evan. He'll be right in the middle of that hornet's nest when we throw the green flag.
That is the last place I think that these drivers want to be, as this time 50 or 35, I should say, laps to go, going to be the number on the scoring pylon. Salas has been going very early on these restarts all night. He does it again. 35 laps to go from Richmond. Here comes the fight for second.
We see the middle of this pack. These drivers are fighting hard for these positions, but Evan, for the most part, the top 4 have been the top 4. If you're one of these drivers that is running up here, as Garrett Maines has a moment off of corner number 2, when do you make the move? When do you get aggressive if you're in the top 5?
I would think these guys have to go now, but you don't want to be the cause, right? Are you willing to risk a top 5 finish? The difference between 5th and 4th, is it worth risking throwing that race car into a pile of junk? As you can see, this battle for second is allowing the 55 to pull away. Once more, Maines too good up top. He stays second. Here's the fight mid-pack with Conti in the middle.
And you know what? I think the agenda is different for those drivers up front than it is right here. You heard Michael Conti. We got to get aggressive. We got to go. These drivers that are up here, they can see the front of the field. Vicente has dominated all night long, but they can see 2nd, 3rd, 4th. They can methodically work their way up here if the back half of the field kind of does their job and they stay green. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Well, that's the trick, right? Can the cars in the back hang on? Those are going to be the drivers who are a little bit more desperate, and they don't have as much to lose as a car running inside of the top 5 or top 10 should they be involved in a wreck. You don't want to see those cars towards the rear play a factor. When the cars up front want to be able to race this one out, some separation, though, towards the front. It is still Salas, Maines, loses, Zelensky, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's ride with P6. It's Isaac again up 5 spots. That's what it looks like to ride in the middle of the pack. That 3-car in the mix as well, and a caution flag somewhere behind these cars, I would assume. Zach Novak may be involved as he was apologizing over the radio, Tim. But again, about 10 laps, stop it again, and this one may come down to some late race restarts.
It indeed might. We saw Graham Boland on that little exchange to give a little shot to Jimmy Mullis, to give a little shot to the driver in front, and that's kind of what we've seen in the last little bit here to facilitate some of these caution flags. We'll see what transpired here as Vicente continues to lead this field with 27 to go.
You mentioned double-edged swords, and almost a split decision on pit road. Garrett Maines took a look, so did Bobby Zelensky, but they all pulled back up. Those cars have only been on track for about 20 laps. Some of them thought about it. In the end, they stay. Here's a look. 3 wide action. It's Malik Ray in the middle, and it's a touch with the 47 car. So you had a bunch of cars in the mix. That's just about 3 or 4 race cars, Tim, trying to work in 2 cars to stayed, and it was Malik Ray who ends up into the inside wall on the back straightaway.
Yeah, they were 3 and almost 4 wide at that point. There's not a whole lot of room to move, and especially if you're in the middle to the back of that pack, you've got to get everything you can here now.
Wave round and a lucky dog to Garrett Lowe. He will rejoin the lead lap in position number 39, so all the cars still on track are on the lead lap, Tim. And what'd you think about the little bit of a duck to pit road? I thought with only 20 laps on the tires that nobody would dare go for it. I think Maines was testing the water, but it looks like they all opted to stay on track.
Yeah, we're going to see if we can't get a hold of Brian Schoenberg. And Brian, what did you see back there, buddy?
Hey, Tim. It's been a rough go. Track position's been hard to come by. There's been only a couple cars that have been, really able to make their way up through the field there. And right there, I had a little bit newer tires than Malik and some of the guys I was around, I believe. And it's really tight down there. 3 wide on the bottom. Malik and I race each other good a lot, and a lot of people, my crew was basically telling me that he may have been squeezed a little bit by the car up top. He's in the middle, 3 wide, and we just kind of found each other. So that kind of sucked. But we'll see what happens. It's really tight racing, Tim. It's kind of hard to do anything back here. A lot more fun up front, I'm sure.
It's been fun to watch. Good to talk to you, my friend. Go get him.
You too. Thank you, buddy. Later.
That's Brian Schoenberg, and we'll see him fly to the front of the field before this thing is all said and done. But Malik Ray, a couple of positions in behind. Car looks decent. What do you think the outlook's going to be here for the next couple laps?
I'm hoping that everyone goes into turn 1 here and they just start hitting each other and missing their braking points and stuff like that, because I need everyone in front of me to wreck if I want to have a shot at a good top 20. So yeah.
We've seen it already. The middle of the pack has been in big. The scale of the aggression level, 1 to 10, what's it going to be in these final few laps for you?
12.
That's what we like to hear. Go get him.
All right, man. Thank you.
As Malik Ray, and the level has been raised back there, Evan, and I think we're seeing that. We're going to see it here throughout. For those that are up front, it's a little bit of an easier breath, and Brian kind of mentioned it. The up front battle is great, but this is very intriguing, middle to the back of the pack, seeing these guys with that sense of urgency, having to come to the front.
Yeah, if we needed any further indication, there it is there, right? We're turning it up to 12 late in this race. Here's the upward look, right-hand side of your screen, and nothing that Malik Ray could have done there, just trying to hold in the middle, but just got squeezed inside and out, and one of those racing deals when people don't give as much room late in the race. Tough break for the 11 car. Going to be a night for him to forget. Pace car off. Green flag flies. 22 laps to go for Vicente Salas.
Field works by down into corner number 1, and Vicente continues to get those restarts, and there's the 17 of Wilson way up the racetrack. I don't know if that was by choice or not, Evan, but I don't think he lost a spot.
And that's the critical one is, oh, look at the 4 car up the hill just a little bit. Could this open the door for Logan Clampett? Luz apologized for squeezing the 83 car up, and a caution flag again behind the leaders.
So a little bit of pushing and shoving for third on back. Top 2 were able to get away there. Kind of ho-hum, Evan. We've seen that all night tonight, and now it looks like Nichols maybe in the 29?
Yeah, normally when you get a shot of a car pacing around the track right after a yellow, it means that it was not a good exchange for that driver. Just keeping a half eye to see if any of your race leaders want to come pit this time through just because they thought about it last time. So I'm just going to keep a half eye on it, but the 29 pitting on a closed pit, that tells me he's got damaged and was one of the cars involved, so a tough break there for the 29 car. It had been kind of an up and down night for Zach Nichols. Tim started towards the rear, was running towards the rear, had points tonight where he was looking pretty good, but this one is just also going to be a night to forget for him.
Now, we talked to Malik, and he was hoping that a bunch of people would miss their braking points going down to the corner. There's Malik on your screen in the middle of the track right here, and up out of the corner. Nichols got the ball. That wasn't missing the braking point, and that wasn't the one that Malik wanted.
Yeah, he should have specified that if there were going to be cars wadded it up, it was going to be incidents that he wasn't involved in, so he could gain some spots. And I said it was a night for him to forget. When it rains, it pours. A rotten night for the 11 car of Malik Ray, who's going to continue to be stuck down at the bottom of the running order with some damage. What a difference between the 11 car and his teammate in the 55 who's up front. Tim, as you dial up the driver, the 29.
Yeah, Zach, what happened there in that little incident?
I just got the wall and took out a couple people. It was definitely my fault. We've been throwing almost everything at this car, trying to get it faster, but just nothing's working so far, so yeah.
Quietly putting together a decent little season, a little bump in the road. What do you got to do to pick up spots here at the end and get a few more points to this?
Yeah, we just came in to get tires. So hopefully, hopefully we can have these tires make us go to the front. I doubt it, considering we got all this damage from a wreck early on.
We'll go get what you can here in the last 18 laps.
Yeah, thank you.
That's Zach Nichols. He had a pretty good season going so far. Evan came into this race 15th, I believe, in the point standing. So he's got some momentum behind him. We'll see what he can do here in these remaining laps to try to pick up a few more spots.
And remember, we've talked a lot about the playoffs this year. As we get later into the year, that conversation going to turn to top 20 and drivers trying to stay in this series for 2022. So it is a point to note that those mid-pack cars having a bad night could hurt them down the line. One reminder, if you want to learn more about this series and take a look at the schedule, the standings, and even info on how you can become a driver in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, log on to iRacing.com/eNASCAR for more information. Tim, question for you. Garrett Maines had struggled on a couple of previous restarts to where it looked like the door was open for Ryan Luz. Even that time when he successfully held on to second, it was already a couple of car lengths difference to Vicente up the road. Are these cautions helping the two or hurting him?
I think it's kind of helping him. It's definitely not hurting him. As we look at Kansas Speedway coming up, we go from a short track to Kansas in 2 weeks' time, and we've seen some great racing there before. Can't wait to go there on April 27th. But I don't think I don't think it's hurting him as much. He's still maintaining position number 2, Evan, to your point. I think if we were to get that long run that, if we had that caution with 50 laps to go a little while ago and we went green to the end, it might have hurt him a little bit more, at least for an opportunity to take the lead. I think he's got a better shot at taking the lead on these short runs than he does on the long runs, but he also has to play the defense to keep third on back behind him.
Kansas, a racetrack that has seen 3 different race winners in the last 3 years there. Last year, it was the third to last race of the year, so very different calendar spot for that one. 2020 winner Nick Ottinger certainly looking forward to round number 7. First and second are parked on each other's door in the center of 3 and 4, but a slide and a bobble for the 2 car. Here comes Ryan Luza. The fight is for second at 15 to go.
Did you see the games that were being played on that restart, Evan? They were kind of giving each other a door down the back straightaway. You see that on short tracks across North America late in the race, trying to get in the head of the other driver. It didn't work in this case. Vicente able to take away that lead. Garrett left to fight for position number 2. But keep in mind, if we get another restart or 2, that might pop back up.
And again, despite the challenge, Garrett Maines defends second. So now Luza under fire by Isaac Gann in a race high P4 for that spot. And look at the rush hour traffic in the middle of the field.
Everybody trying to get to the front of the field because the pay window is about to open in 13 laps. The points are about to fall as they continue to move. There's Isaac Gann moving up to position number 4, I do believe, fighting for a top 5 run. Stephen Wilson, Logan Clampett get close, door to door down in 3 and 4, and looks like Wilson trying to pick up that spot.
Yeah, Wilson, one of, I think, 5 drivers in the field that are up double digits from where they started this race. Not the biggest mover, though. That belongs to Michael Guest, who started 40th, dead last, and is up 24 positions, 16th. Another big mover to shout out, Graham Boland, started 32nd. He's up to 13th, a little bit behind this duo, but Wilson is leaning all over the 97 to Clampett, trying to get P6 back.
Got to do what you got to do here, Evan, to pick up your 1 or 2 or 3 extra spots and just hope you don't upset the apple cart and end up being that driver to bring out the caution. We're going to take a look middle of the pack here too. There's Bob Bryant, there's Mitchell DeYoung, there's that 9 Michael Guest car that you mentioned. This is around 17th place. Blade Witt having a respectable run here as well. He's had an up and down season, looking to get at least a top 15 finish out of this.
And of course, Bob Bryant, you talk about him, your race winner from 2 weeks ago at his first career win at the Virtual Auto Club Speedway. He's in the mix here. How about a little bit further up, some 3 wide there with the 25 on the bottom. Sounds like he and Leahy may have just caught the fence a little bit in the 32 car. That happened off of 2, and I believe Ottinger helped him. There was a bit of a touch, a big bobble by the 32. He's able to reel it in, and he's able to defend and maintain what is position number 8. Now up the hill goes the 25. Ottinger forced way to the outside off of the nose of Taylor Hurst.
Yeah, had a little bit of help there. We'll see if Nick Ottinger gets back to the 33 or not. Not able to do so. Cooler heads may prevail here, coming off of corner number 2. In front of these drivers, some single file racing.
Don't book it yet.
Oh,
don't book it yet. There it is.
Oh, there it is.
Gives him a bump, moves him out of the way. Taylor Hurst, it's the retribution. He loosened him up off of 2, and Nick Ottinger paid him back, drove him into turn number 3, and Taylor Hurst should be fortunate that car's not on a hook because it was a whale of a slot and a really good save.
And Taylor Hurst is usually calm, cool, and collected. I believe probably a little hot under the collar after that. A great save nonetheless. He probably could be running 38th right now, Evan. Great save to keep it from out of there, but now he's in this battle for a top 15 finish. It's not a top 5 where he was running, but now he's trying to get what he can.
Here's a look with Blake Reynolds. All these cars in the same battle or so. Blake back in 20th position, so just behind where all of that excitement was. Sure, he got a good look at it. You can see DeYoung on the bottom, Witt on the top side, and then it's Hurst and Bryant up the road. And as well, some cars behind this battle getting into the fence, and think of some spinners off of the rear view mirror, and a caution. There it is, saw it out of the corner to the screen, the 18 car, hard to miss it. Femi Olat, Tim, involved in at least his second incident of the night.
Oh, it hasn't been the night for Femi, and that Interstate Batteries number 18. And it's been an up and down night. And that, again, that middle of the pack, it seems like that's where that electricity is. It kind of sparks this off, but I think 4 laps to go, we're going to go into overtime.
Yeah, that caution at 4 laps to go means we will have to extend this race for an overtime restart. Pits are open. Thinking but not taking is Maines again. He's done that basically every yellow the last 3-4 cycles through, just to kind of gauge interest, because if everybody behind him pitted, they could really hang the 55 of Salas out, but no takers, and everybody can stay out there. They've been out there about 39 laps or so on the tires. Granted, we've had more yellows in the final quarter of this race than the rest of it, so they haven't had that many green flag laps on it. Let's see what happened, and look at this action. 3 wide with Duval, Alfala, and Conti. Nathan Lyon up the road in the 6 car, and just a touch right there into the fence. Conti gets a piece, and that is how Femi Olat found himself turned around. None of his doing, but a big mess in 3 and 4 when 3 wide turned into a de facto 4 wide, and that normally doesn't cash out.
The hole closed, and the hole closed in a big and a very quick way for those drivers back there. And for Femi Olat, there was no way to get around that once it starts happening in front. But Nathan, what did you see? What facilitated that from the 6 car?
I'm not sure. It's just late racing, trying to get everything you can. Really, I don't blame Ray for sending that hard. I know he's trying to get every spot he can. I probably could have entered a little higher, but I just didn't expect us to be 3 wide right there.
You were up there in the top 15, top 20. How disappointing is it to have this happen so late in the race?
It sure does stink, but I don't think it's over, so we might be able to get some spots here at the end. If we can make it up back in the top 3, I think I'd be happy just to get some points.
Love the optimism. Go get what you can.
Thanks.
That's Nathan Lyon in the 6. And Evan, considering what we've heard disappointment from some of the drivers earlier tonight, I think that's one of the first drivers that we've had a little bit of optimism come from. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, right?
There is. I think you can take away some things, even though you may not get the result in this race that you would have wanted. Some of the positives, right? And try to translate the speed into some of the other short tracks this year. Let's see the perspective on board with the 18 machine of Femi Olat on the bottom, and up top is where all of the chaos is going to break out. Right there, just got tagged, doored by Conti, and it always seems like the car who had nothing to do with the start of it is always the guy who gets torn up the most.
He was minding his own P's and Q's, doing what he had to do, and just got caught up in it. It's a tough break for Femi Olat. He's been involved in a few and none really of his doing. So loaded up, and after 2 more laps or 3 more laps here, and get what you can at Kansas and try to right the ship per se, and try to get a little bit closer to the front of the field. But we are doubled up. I believe the lights atop that pace car may be off, and we're getting ready for a 2-lap dash.
3 caution flags in the opening 150 laps of this race, and 4 caution flags in the last 50. Short track racing heating things up. It'll be attempt number 1 of 3 at a green-white checkered finish. Salas and Maines on the front row with Luza, Gon, and Zelensky inside of the top 5. Green flag in the air. 2 laps to go.
Vicente has been lights out on these restarts, and one more time, it's now a battle for second. He is left in the rearview mirror. What does Ryan Luza do? Does he use that chrome horn to get by Garrett Maines? Can Maines hold on to P2?
And could Isaac Gann get an extra spot? He's working the outside, which seems to be the slower lane. He'll take a look as up front, white flag in the air. This race is official.
We got there, but who's back to the line first? Top 2 single file behind them. It is a battle. Can Vicente Salas hold on for his first win in the series?
In just his 6th career start, Vicente Salas going to come off of the final corner. The first win for Space Station Gaming and his first career Coke Series win. Vicente Salas, your winner at Richmond. Not many drivers, Tim, can say that they've won a race in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Not many can say that they've done it in their first year. I can only imagine the club he joins by getting his first career win in just his 6th start in his rookie campaign, and he absolutely waxed the field tonight. What a drive for Vicente Salas.
And this winning moment presented by Coca-Cola. And Evan, domination. That's the big word tonight.
Not even close. There were times where we thought maybe Garrett Maines had a look on a couple of restarts, but even late when they had 3, 4, 5 opportunities to be on the bumper and to make something happen, the 55 stayed mistake-free. Tim, let's talk with your race winner.
And he parks it down here in victory lane. Vicente Salas is a winner. Vicente, it looked easy from up here, but your first victory and a dominating performance. What are the emotions right now?
Oh, I don't even know what to say. We put in thousands and thousands of laps, tens of thousands of laps this week, and for it to pay off like this and for Garrett to get second place too, I could not be any happier for everybody.
Those restarts at the end, you were absolutely lights out. Was there any sort of doubt in those restarts coming to the end?
Honestly, if I could set it up right and get the correct jump, change it up a little bit, I don't think there was much that was going to be done.
56th different winner in this series, 6th start. How big is it to win this early? And oh, by the way, there's a playoff ticket there too.
Yeah, it's huge. It relieves so much stress for the rest of the season. It's been really tough to put in as much time as we've been putting in, especially with my real life racing schedule. So to kind of be able to not necessarily tone it down, but just kind of be easier with it, it's extremely relieving.
Well, now you have another trophy to add behind your back. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Vicente Salas, a winner in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, and dominating fashion here tonight at Richmond Raceway in round number 6 of 2021. Evan, what a show.
And I believe, and I've ran the numbers, and somebody can double check me on this, but Vicente Salas leads all 203 laps of this race, Tim. I believe he becomes the first driver ever to lead every single lap of an oval race in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Is you're down trackside with the driver who came home second to him.
And here's a guy that ran second for pretty much 203 laps tonight, Garrett Maines. I know it's not the finish that you wanted to have here tonight, but second place has to feel pretty good here at a home racetrack for you.
Yeah, it really came down to track position. We're on the same equipment, and it was really hard to pass. I felt like I had the short run speed on him, just absolutely nowhere to go with it. And I burned myself up trying to get by him every run. He did a phenomenal job. He didn't make any mistakes, so there's nothing to capitalize on. And every time I got a run, there was an apron there to stop me. So it was a lot of fun racing with him, though.
150 laps, we saw 3 cautions. We saw you struggle a little bit on corner exit. Those short runs at the end, those were critical. How critical were they to try to lock up this deal and keep those other drivers behind you? Because Ryan Luza was coming.
Yeah, it was really difficult to hold people up on the short run, just because the outside was a awful place to be on the initial green. Just you had no ability to time it. I couldn't go where I needed to go to basically defend my position. So basically every time I had to take the outside into turn 1. That just, that kind of sealed the deal. I was a little tight there at the end of the race as well. I made a adjustment at the beginning of the race for the current track condition, and that was a mistake. Definitely had a car that was dialed in, and I think I dialed it out. But overall, I can't complain too much. We were able to come home second, even with all the the mess there when we were battling on the restarts. So nothing to complain about. Got lucky to survive it.
P2, congratulations. See you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, appreciate it. Just got to thank OfferPad, Nutrient Ag Solutions, Digital Hub, Smithfield, Linux, Bradley Mechanical, Autism Hope Alliance, all the guys at Elliott Sadler Esports for putting together a fantastic piece this week. Best car of the season. Just big thank you to all of them.
That's Garrett Maines, P2 here this evening from the Richmond Raceway, and I believe we're getting ready to catch up with our third-place finisher, Ryan Luza, who had some work to do near the end on those restarts. Ryan, what else did you need on those shorter runs to get up there and battle with those top 2?
We just need a little bit better car. Those guys were way faster than us the entire race. And Bobby could kind of keep up with them short run, but I just think they were saving because we were planning on going 100 laps on fuel, and the car got really, really loose long run. So not really much I could do. The only thing I was maybe thinking was, Garrett was going to try to get aggressive, go for the win, because you need the win to get into the playoffs. So I thought maybe they would get into it. But other than that, didn't really think much was going to happen. Just wanted to, try to hold that top 3 and, stay solidly in the top 20. Because now this is 6 races, 6 different winners. So if we keep on this trend, we're going to have over 10. So we just need to, be top 5 or so in points and get ourselves in the playoffs.
The mindset on points is great. I want to ask you about the team championship too, because you and Casey are locked into that team championship with Exet. How big is this finish for you for not only that points run that you mentioned for a driver championship, but also a team championship?
Yeah, it's big. I think it'd be really cool if me and Casey can bring home the team championship. But the two that I think are going to be really hard to beat is the Byron cars. Clampett and Ottinger have been really, really fast every week here. So I think they're really the main competition that everyone's looking at as far as team points. And obviously the ESC cars were pretty quick tonight too. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Not really a winning car that we brought, but we brought a really good car. So hopefully we can find that just a little bit that we're missing and contend for these wins. But top 3 is nothing to hang our head about. Really, really happy with it. Especially after last week getting, kind of KO'd so early. Just trying to take a step back here and look at the bigger picture in these races.
It's another great run. We'll see you at Kansas.
Thanks, Evan.
That's Ryan Luza coming home in position number 3 here this evening. And Evan, a great run by the driver of the number 4. Kept his head down all night long, got those positions, and was able to come home with a podium finish. What a race here tonight.
Let's take a look at our Coca-Cola move of the race, and it was on lock for the driver of the 55. Again, these late race restarts were the opening for a Mains, for a Luza. Put a bumper to him to get the positioning. He never gave them the chance, Tim, leading all 203 laps. Again, the first driver in the history of this series to lead every single lap in an oval race, and he does it in just his 6th career start. It's his first win in the series. Just insane stuff, but a huge congratulations as well to Space Station Gaming, who get their first win also.
Absolute perfection when it comes down to the end of it. Vicente able to try to get himself into the playoffs. And Ryan Luza mentioned those points as you take a look at the top 10 on your screen. Points are going to be key here, so some of these drivers that might not have necessarily won in the top 10, Evan, get a good points net into this.
Yeah, they do. You got the likes of Luza, who we talked to, and a big thanks to those top 3 for giving us some thoughts. Isaac Gann and Bobby Zelensky through the top 5. Previous race winners, Logan Clampett, Keegan Leahy in the mix as well, with Steven Wilson, a great showing for Roush. You got Nick Ottinger holding strong, and Matt Busa at the top 10.
Yeah, great run for Matt. Zach Novak comes home in 11th at the home racetrack for the team. Corey Vincent, Michael Guest from the back of the field to 13th. Graham Boland from outside the top 30 on the start to 14th. Bob Bryant, Jimmy Mullis, Blade Witt with a respectable run after the up-and-down season he's had to 17th. Blake Reynolds, Taylor Hurst, what might have been, and Chris Shearburn started near the front. He had a tough night.
He did, and these mid-pack cars had a bit of an up and down. DeYoung slides to end up 21st, but big gains for the likes of Duval and Alfala up to 22nd and 23rd. Alan Bowes and Kane Cook are your top 25. Didn't talk much about Kane there much tonight. Zach Nichols is 26th. John Gorlinski picks up a few for 27th. Jake Nichols is 28th. Malik Ray, involved in all of those incidents, gets some late positions for 29th, and 30th goes to Michael Conti.
And these drivers necessarily didn't have the greatest nights, but back to 38, still on the track and on the lead lap. Ryan Doucette, Derek Justice, Jake Matheson, Nathan Lyon, Casey Kerwin, Garrett Lowe, Brad Davies, Femi Ola, Brian Schoenberg 7 laps down, and a tough break early for Ashton Crowder. He finishes in position number 40. So overall, a great show here tonight, Evan. Some great racing action. Lots of green flag running at the start. We kind of expected the intensity to ramp up in those last 50 laps. Indeed, it did. And now we put the first short track in our rearview mirror and move on in 2 weeks' time to Kansas.
Yeah, we go back to a bigger track, to an intermediate track, and we keep that streak going, Tim. Now 6 different race winners to open up the season. That ties the second longest streak of different race winners to open a year, only bested by in 2010, the inaugural season, when it took to round number 8 for Richard Taylor to become the first repeat winner. So they went the first 7. We have an opportunity to tie that next week at Kansas. And as I alluded to when we talked about it earlier, Tim, it's a racetrack that has seen a bunch of different race winners. It's going to be multi-groove action. Some cars can be up top. You can be on the bottom and middle, anywhere you want. That one as well, wide open as those playoff spots become ever more expensive, I'd say.
Some big names, some former champions that haven't locked themselves in or haven't got that win per se yet. The series, it's going to ramp up. You're going to have to get that pressure off your back and get that win. Somebody's going to be happy at the end of Kansas. It might be a repeat winner. It might be a new winner. But we'll find out in a couple of weeks how it all shakes out.
Yeah, certainly so. And as we mentioned all night, if you want to learn more information about this series, log on to iRacing.com and iRacing.com/eNASCAR. If you want to get involved in the sim, or if you just want to learn more about this eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, those are your resources to get everything you can, Tim. We had the questions coming into this race, right? The last 3 years, double-digit yellows. Was it going to be a barn burner? Was it going to be crazy? We had a bunch of those yellows late, as you mentioned, inside of the final 50. But honestly, I think guys had time with those green flag runs to improve on their cars, to make up positions. And I think that's what makes it that much more impressive for Vicente to get the win tonight, right? It's not like it was green all the way and he checked out. It's not like there were tons of yellows. I mean, those guys had opportunities, and I think we saw a really good race tonight. Richmond's always fun to come to. It's been on the calendar every year, and I can't wait till we come back again.
Some 3-wide racing, some bent
4 wide
metal,
at times.
Some bent tempers. Yep. It's a short track. We got that short track action in the final 50 laps. We saw some phenomenal racing in the first 150 laps. The bar continues to get raised. We're going to see it again in 2 weeks in Kansas. Congratulations to Vicente, but how about Garrett Maines as well? There's another rookie in the top 3, and Ryan Luza, the longest tenured driver in the top 3, coming home in position number 3. So we'll see what happens next. Ryan said points are key. We'll see what happens throughout the season.
And it snapped his streak of 2 race wins here in a row. So I guess this means Vicente's got to win here next year as well. Until next time, though, that is it for us here tonight from the virtual Richmond Raceway. On behalf of our entire team at iRacing, and that includes everybody behind the scenes, for Nico Goslin, Alex Horn, Jay Kennedy, Tim Burns, along with Malik Strader, Nick Fasoli, Joe McManus, Cisco Scaramuza, and Drew Adamson, Blake McCandless as well behind the scenes. For our Countdown to Green crew, down trackside, Marco Guerrilla, Brandon Cattell, Chris Overland, James Pike, Justin Prince, Amy Long, for Tim Terry and myself, Evan Pasoko. I want to thank you for tuning in and congratulate first-time winner Vicente Salas. You mentioned it, Tim. He becomes the 56th different driver in series history. We're back in 2 weeks' time from the virtual Kansas Speedway on Tuesday, April 27th. That race and every race of the 2021 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series can be found right here on the iRacing Esports Network and streaming live at eNASCAR.com. Until next time, good night from Richmond, where race winner is Vicente Salas.